What is up, you guys? Welcome back. I told you it'd be about a half hour. I guess it's more like 45 minutes, but it is what it is. Guess we're gonna have a late night tonight. Guess we're gonna have a late night tonight. Late night tonight. Um, First, again, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the notifications, subscribe, hit the notification, hit the bell. Make sure the bell is on all, not personalized, nothing else. Make sure it's on all. That's what you got to do first. Hit that, hit that, hit that. Um, then we'll get going. Then we'll get going. Give you guys a few minutes to come in. Give y'all a few moments. I got some food, and then I'm going to eat while I watch it. I'm not going to eat like on camera. Not going to do that. Ain't going to do that. But yeah. So come on in, say what's up, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like button, please. It helps me out, you guys. It helps out the channel. Glenn Williams, why the upside down LA hat? I have no clue because LA is just garbage. That's why. That's honestly why. It was actually limited edition. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Upside down LA. I'll get it. Limited edition. They only made so many of them. So that's why I got the hat. All right, we're gonna get into this. Angry Oregonian, what's up? And I thought it was garbage. I think LA's garbage. So I was like, why not upside down? Since it was limited edition, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll rock it. I'll rock it for sure. Let me do one more thing and we'll get going on this. And I want to eat real quick. Why? All right. There we go. Post. Okay. All right. We're going to go. I'm going to start this and I want to chill for a second and eat. So cool. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure, again, you guys hit the like button.
And we got Brian and RC here today. The topic of the night is feminism on trial. And then we're going to give it over to Brian for the first 5-10 minute opening. You can use as little or as much as the time as you want, concede it when you want. And then after that, we'll go to RC on the anti side. If you would, second person here who's not speaking, mute yourself and vice versa when it gets to your turn, just so you're not emboldened to hop in on the opening. All right. Well, without further ado, I will start the timer as soon as you start talking.
Awesome. Mike, it's great to be here. Modern Day Debate. Thanks for having us. RC, great to see you again. I wanted to start off by RC by talking to you directly. I think that I know that you think you're looking out for the boys, protecting them, warning them against the dangers of feminism. But I know that what you're doing and the broader manosphere that you exist within contributes to far more damage than any woman will do to a man. Because I believe men are strong in ways that you don't give them credit for. Men have capacity for things beyond the little box that you like to put them in and demand that they stay in to satisfy your narrow view of what masculinity and manhood can mean, which is contributing to so much of the loneliness and frustration that men feel. Your view seems to be driven by what women are doing to men rather than acknowledging that the ideology of male defaultism has brought us to where we are today and brought on the rise of feminism. So this ignorance of history and being unhealed from personal trauma and pain literally does PR for crusty old men and power structures that also harms men. I know jumping into this, there's gonna be a lot of folks who immediately decide who I am and what I believe just based on the male feminist description that's given to me in the title of this video. But real quick for context, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school growing up. My perspective today is that there's a lot of great lessons that can be learned through religion, but I've found ultimately a lot of people weaponize it, especially when you throw capitalism into the mix. You get a lot of perverted incentives. You get the inevitable grifters, some of which women seem to be the only ones RC has a major problem with. I think Jesus had a lot of great things to say. My morality, though, doesn't come from a text. It comes from the belief that humans are a part of nature and that we're all in this together. It comes from recognizing where there is suffering and using the power that I have to help alleviate that suffering. So I'm sure we're going to get into all of the isms, feminism, capitalism, socialism. What I recognize is that the world we live in today is constantly evolving. The capitalism and patriarchy we have today is different than it was 50 years ago. The feminism we have today is different than it was 50 years ago. But today is obviously informed heavily by the past. The mindset of male defaultism that drove a law that prevented women from having a bank account, for instance, doesn't just magically disappear when the law changes. Many things are baked into our world without us really consciously even perceiving it. And those beliefs are often reinforced by systems of control, culture, money, religion, politics, sex. Folks who hold power and want to continue to hold power use propaganda to keep what I believe in, a rainbow coalition of working class people of all backgrounds, from recognizing and revolting against what is a rigged game. So in full transparency, I might find it difficult to have this debate because one, RC, I found you like to ignore facts and statistics and let your emotions drive your thinking, generally inventing things to inform your opinion and to get mad at. And two, I recognize that a major struggle throughout human history is over power. Who has it, what the rules are, what certain people can get away with under the authority of that power. And when we have a PDF file in the White House, who is the embodiment of a deeply despicable Epstein class, you would rather focus on photoshopping sweatshirts on girls at the gym. So this dynamic, who holds power and who wields power, is something I found a lot of folks like to simply ignore and rather focus on attacking specific women and the straw man of things like feminism, like socialism. Because if you engaged in a real conversation where facts and history are at the core of the conversation, your worldview would completely fall apart. So with that, RC.
Well, thank you, Modern Day Debate, for hosting this debate. Thank you, Brian, for accepting it. I appreciate both of you for that. So I want to keep my opening statement as short and concise as I can because I really value the open discussion segment of these debates. That's where I think some of the best ideas are either won or lost. So to put it simply, I believe that feminism is harmful for our society. And I believe that because we are a biologically patriarchal species. To sort of spell out what I mean by that, when we look at the way when we look at the way estrogen affects the female brain, in development from infancy into childhood, into adolescence, and then into adulthood, it uniquely affects female brains distinctly from the way testosterone affects the male brain from puberty into adolescence and into adulthood. So we are discernibly differently biologically. We think differently. Our brains have developed differently. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other and one is worse than the other. I'm just highlighting the fact that we are biologically different. Then when we look at human societies through the last, let's say, 5,000 years, the vast majority of them are patriarchal. They have a male-dominated structure. Brian could contend with that, counter saying that That's because of colonizers that are using a patriarchal religion, colonizing a land and influencing them to adopt a patriarchal system. My counter to that would be, if you look at China, Thailand, Japan, those are just 3 countries of a handful of countries that were never colonized. They had patriarchal empires that extended for well over 3,000 years. They formed patriarchal systems independent from any outside influence. The reason being is because that will always happen, because we are a patriarchal species. If you look at the Scandinavian paradox, if you look at Scandinavian countries, they raised their boys and girls to be egalitarian. In other words, they're raising their boys and girls to not have any gender roles. They raise them rather homogenous with gender roles. They're just the same thing. The paradox is that when those boys and girls grow up to be adults and enter the workforce, the gender roles have an even larger divide, meaning that the women enter into more feminine leaning roles and professions, and the men enter into even more masculine roles and professions. So that's the Scandinavian paradox. So I'm sort of trying to view this like a scientist observing any species on the planet. We can conclude that virtually every species on the planet has clear and distinct biological roles. I'm not saying that every species is patriarchal, and I'm not saying that every species has the same biological roles. What I am saying is every species has discernible biological roles, and that doesn't stop at human beings. And let's pretend that we were Martian scientists that were jobbed with the fact of observing the human species. We would conclude, minus any bias, that the human race is discernibly biologically patriarchal. And I want to kind of conclude on this point. This is how I view feminism, and I'm going to try to paint an analogy here. The majority of female birds find nesting material and build a nest, lay the eggs, lay on top of the eggs, and then nurture the young once the baby birds hatch. That's just an instinctive biological role that female birds have. And male birds also have their biological role of like feeding the mother and then the mother feeding the babies. Conceivably, this is a thought experiment here, but conceivably, we could train male and female bird species to reverse the roles. We could train male birds to find the nesting material. We could train the male birds to build the nest. We could train the male birds to lay on top of the eggs after the females laid them, and then train the male birds to nurture the young. That's kind of what feminism is doing. But what would happen? You're disrupting the instinctive biological role of that species, and you're going to set an imbalance to nature. And that's exactly what feminism is doing with the human species. Feminism is a learned behavior that you have to teach away from our instinctual biological roles to teach young girls to be leaders and combative and competitive, and to teach men to be more feminine and docile and nurturing. So you're disrupting nature, you're disrupting what our instinctual behaviors have always been. We've always observed them to be. And that's why feminism is harmful to the human race.
Okay, so just real quick, humans aren't birds, right?
That's correct.
Got it.
Are we getting into the open discussion?
Real quick, sorry,
Yeah,
I was making sure.
Go for it.
I have to unmute two different things here. It takes me 1 second, but I did it. And I just wanted to say thank you both for the openings there. And I see you guys are eager to get right into it. So I'll just make this quick. Guys, like the video, subscribe if you haven't. If you're new to the channel, we have several tiers of membership here, and you can watch the DebateCon 8 live streams live from Dallas this July. If you can't make it, I do suggest you try to make it. We have tickets in the description here, and I'm sure they'll be posted and pinned as we go. Thanks to Yonaguni Cuisine. They're our biggest sponsor, one of the bigger sponsors of DebateCon 8 coming up. And with that, thank you guys, and we'll get right to the 60-minute dialogue starting now.
Cool. So I want to just jump in because the reason I started my opening statement the way that I did, speaking to the fact that RC likes to ignore reality, is because while I was talking about birds, just did a little Googling. Do birds share gender roles? And there are species where males do most or all of the parenting. In emus, shorebirds, I don't know, cassowaries. I'm not sure how to pronounce some of these things. There are some species that fully share parenting. There's one species that talks about where females do most of everything, and that's hummingbirds. So
Brian, I didn't say every bird species.
No,
Brian,
but you're using things
Brian.
as definitive statements that are just blanket. This is the way that
I'm
it
not
is.
blanketing all bird species. I said that there are a lot of bird species in which they have biological roles, and even the ones that you named that has a distinct biological role. Does it not? Do those bird species not have a discernibly biological role?
Okay. See,
that's a yes or no. But that's a yes or no question.
Already.
My point is that I'm illustrating that species have biological roles. You're trying to disprove that by pointing out the fact that there are bird species that have biological roles. Are you saying that species don't have discernibly biological roles?
I'm saying that it is not as black and white and clear as what you describe.
So do species have biological roles
and females
or no?
do this?
Because you're refuting the claim that biological roles are not found in species.
Man,
it's a yes or no question. Do species
it's not black
have
and white? And you were trying to make what is
do species have biological roles? It's a yes or no
dude.
question.
Wolf, dude. What is feminism? Can we just start with what feminism is? Because
are you not going to answer the question?
Do birds have biological roles?
Do species have biological roles in nature? Because you said that I don't want to. You said that I ignore the facts. I ignore history, and I ignore. They do have biological roles. So what about what I said was wrong?
Cool. So, and in the example that I gave is that a male has a quote unquote female biological role by the Googling that I just did. And you'd say that there's the males have their role and the females have their role.
No, Brian.
And I just told you that
that's not what I said.
They exist.
No, Brian. I said that. Right, let me be. If you're gonna speak for me, let me speak for myself, because I thought it was pretty clear in the opening statement, but I will reiterate myself. I'm saying that there are biological roles in species. I made it clear that not every species is a patriarchy, and I also made it clear that not every species replicates each other's biological roles. What I'm pointing out is that species have biological roles, which you've agreed to. I'm not saying that every species exhibits the same patriarchal roles that human beings do. That was never my claim.
All right, cool. What is feminism to you? What does that mean to you?
Are you going to contend with what I just said? Are you going to agree that you mischaracterized?
I think it's besides the point. I think it's
okay. We're kind of circling that one, Robbie. So yeah, it'd probably be best to move on if you want to circle back later when we kind of get towards the end.
RC, please. But yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so then no, it's cool. So you don't want to agree that you just totally mischaracterized my argument? That's fine. We can go to defining feminism. You're the one. Go ahead.
I'm curious. I'd love to understand from because your perspective is that it's bad and it's harmful. So what is bad and harmful?
Feminism is a rejection of traditional patriarchal norms. Feminism is pushing back on the idea that we should be a male-dominated society.
And you believe we should have a male-dominated society?
Yes, because I believe we are inherently and innately, naturally biological patriarchal species biologically.
Got it. Please prove that is just nature, that men are dominant and that's the way it is.
Well, it depends what your standard of proof is. I can show you evidence of this, as we can do with all scientific claims, because this is really a scientific claim that I'm making, that human beings are male dominated and patriarchal. I think the strongest point of it,
it is natural.
Yeah, that's why when I pointed to China, Thailand, Japan, these are countries that were never colonized and never were influenced from outside patriarchal religions or outside patriarchal European powers. They still formed patriarchal empires of their own that extended well over 3,000 to 4,000 years. So you would have to contend with, why would they form a patriarchal society and patriarchal empires if we're an egalitarian species?
Because men have used their power physically to dominate and subjugate women historically.
That's how male-dominated patriarchal species work, though, because we're a patriarchal species.
Forced control.
No, because I also exhibited that the female brain is developed differently because of the influence of estrogen than the male brain is. That's why they're more submissive. They're more nurturing. They fit into that sort of biological role. You're shaking your head no. Like, I thought that the left was all about the science, looking to the science. What about what I just said is wrong?
Yeah, pseudoscience is kind of obnoxious. So I'll tell you what the definition of feminism is.
That was a pseudoscience? What about what I just said is a pseudoscience?
You throw out random things just to validate a worldview that you already hold. You use correlation to come up with your conclusions.
Okay, so can you illustrate how I was wrong in anything that I just said scientifically?
Well, my God, dude, the fact that you think it's natural that men have had to subjugate women and enforce it through law is a system that has to be enforced through law and control natural. You think that's natural?
There's a lot that you just said there. You didn't really answer my question though. I said, can you illustrate the
pseudoscience, man? It's really hard.
No,
to like
I said scientifically that testosterone uniquely affects the neural pathways, the neural networks, and affects the male brain differently than estrogen in development, how estrogen affects the female brain. You can even see that with trans people. That's a pretty large case study. If you take a trans woman who's a male and inject a male with estrogen, that male is going to start behaving differently. It's a neurological difference that you will see exhibited amongst trans women injecting themselves, which are males injecting themselves with estrogen. So if you see this behavioral difference in adulthood, imagine what estrogen does to the female brain when she's born with it and lives her entire life with it. You don't see that. What scientifically am I saying wrong here? Actually, I'm confused.
You just talk about nonsense that has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, so what about what I just said is nonsense? You're saying it's nonsense. Explain and show why it's nonsense.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about, because you didn't even define feminism in like a real tangible way, because you don't even come to it with an honest reckoning of how history has worked. You think that men have used their size and power difference to subjugate women as proof that that's natural and how it should be. So slavery, by your extent, because I can use my firepower to enslave and capture humans and treat them as objects. Well, it's natural. I have the power, so that's the way it works. Like that's
no, Brian. That's not my argument.
Doing.
No, my argument is that
you don't even understand what feminism is, and you don't,
Brian. I'm saying that we have biological roles naturally. Therefore, women want to be submissive. They want to nurture. They want to raise a family, and men want to conquer, colonize. Men want to build. Men want to defend. That's why you're like a feminist, because in a way you're enacting your biological role of trying to defend women. Which is why men on the Titanic let the women and children go first, because we have a biological role. It's innate, it's instinctual that we want to defend women, we want to defend children, we want to defend weaker people, physically weaker people. We do want to defend. You're shaking your head no, like the things that I'm saying are ridiculous. Can you, instead of shaking your head no and telling me that I'm speaking nonsense, just illustrate the nonsense that I'm saying?
You have a perverted worldview is what you have.
Can you explain why though?
Because you don't understand what patriarchy is or what feminism is, and understand how it fits into historical context.
Okay, you're just saying things, but you're not actually substantively arguing why what I'm saying is nonsense.
Let's talk about what feminism actually is, because rejection of the natural order of patriarchy is nonsense. It's built from a male-centric point of view where men are the default, men are the first ones, and then women come after. Feminism is a movement comprised of many trains of thought, consisting of several waves over time to achieve full social, economic, and political equality for all genders. And from my understanding, it has the name feminism because there wasn't really a fitting and appropriate name for what it actually is, which is equality. Men have used their power over time to dominate women and keep women in certain places, not naturally, but because of I don't know, a lot of damage, a lot of power control. I mean, there's a lot of systems of control that work against all of humanity, and you're a simp for it. You're a simp for power structures that damage you and that harm men and harm women and harm everyone.
So if you're saying that it's damaging us, then when you look at, there's a Yale female happiness paradox study that shows over the last 100 years or so, the more that women have been distanced from the patriarchy and the more rights that they have attained, the less happy that they've become. They've become more and more unhappy.
That's not causation. That's correlation, not
okay,
causation.
then engage with it. If you're saying that the patriarchy makes women unhappy and distancing and pushing away the patriarchy, abolishing the patriarchy is going to make women happier, why have they been historically becoming more and more unhappy? the further that they've been distanced from the patriarchy.
Again, patriarchy harms everyone.
Are you going to engage with
harms
a single
everyone.
question that I asked, or are you going to just keep saying what I'm saying is nonsense and then deflect away?
I mean, it is, man.
So engage with what I said. I've engaged with what you said. I'm asking to at least engage with one thing that I say.
Go for it. Yeah. What's the question? What's your question for me?
I said, if the patriarchy is oppressive and harmful to women and makes them more unhappy.
It's harmful to everyone.
Okay, it's not, because that's what we are biologically. But then over the last 100 years, how can you explain why women have been becoming more and more unhappy the further that they've been distanced from the patriarchy?
Great. There's a lot of things that contribute to that. First of all, when you gauged women's happiness maybe 70 years ago, they were evaluated on kind of one dimension of their home, if they were from a middle or upper class, platform. If you're working class, you've been working, and women have been in the workforce for forever if you're part of a lower class. But so when you engage in a conversation around, have women gotten happier, the dimensions of what we've measured are not the same 70 years ago as they are today. So that's a fact.
I don't know. I think if you ask someone if they were happy 100 years ago, you're like asking someone today if they're happy. I don't think if someone feeling happy has changed, it's a feeling. And
the world's different than it was today.
You're right.
If you ask a woman if she's happy in the 50s, the dimensions potentially of what she's evaluating are of a domestic house life, right?
And why was she happy with that?
She's only evaluating the home life. She's not evaluating life.
But now you have women today that have entered the workforce, entered male-dominated spaces, these girl boss feminists that are independent, and they're very unhappy. Most of them are on SSRIs, antidepressants. Most of them are on birth control, which is screwing up their hormones, and they're just not happy. They're just not happy at all.
And men are happy.
Men have a harder life than women. So men, just biologically, we do different things. But the question here is the fact that you said patriarchy is making women unhappy. So when we've abolished the patriarchy and have afforded women all these rights, which men have allowed them to have, by the way.
Men have to allow women to have rights.
Yes. Look at the Middle East. Women don't have rights there because men don't allow them to have rights. So men either allow women to have rights or not. That's just a basic fact. But my point is that when we've abolished this patriarchy, why are women not getting happier? That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
You want to know why people aren't happy today?
Women, I'm asking specifically, why aren't they happier
let's
today?
Talk about women in particular, because we live in a cutthroat society where the quest for the dollar is the only way we derive happiness. That's the culture we've created, a cutthroat capitalistic, beyond capitalism. I mean, this is the worst form of capitalism you could possibly imagine, where
this is not a capitalist debate, though.
See, and that's where you miss the entire point, bro. You'd rather focus on little specific things and don't think anything correlate to one another or interact with each other because you have such a narrow and ignorant view of the world.
No, I would be happy to have a. I would be happy to have a capitalist socialist debate with you if you'd like, but today's about feminism.
And you think those are completely separate topics?
I think those are absolutely the separate topics. We're not debating socialism right now. Socialism is an economic system. Feminism is a sociological indoctrination of young girls. That's what feminism is.
See, again, this is why it's difficult to have this conversation, because you don't understand how the world works. You are ignorant.
Okay. So I looked over the last 5,000 years of human history. I seem to see how that works.
RC, real quick, I just want to make sure I didn't miss it if we gave Brian a full chance to get a full definition of what he believes feminism is out there without any interruptions. I can give you like a minute and a half, 2 minutes if you want to try to squeeze it, and then RC can react and bring up what he was just about to bring up.
Sure. So quickly, feminism, a movement. There's a lot of trains of thought within it, and it's consisted of several waves over time to achieve full social, economic, and political equality for all genders, men and women, and otherwise. Why it's important is because that's what's crazy, is that you think men have the divine right to grant privileges to women, which is and you say that's not like misogynistic is wild. But for most of American history, a woman was viewed as property, a legal dependent of her father until she became a legal dependent of her husband, with the state and society enforcing that arrangement across just about every institution of her life. And some of your fans, some people on your side of the debate are fine with this. If that's the case, like own it. Then don't be surprised when women are repulsed by you because you don't see them as full human beings. And that is the point of feminism, is to see every human as a full human being.
I
That
see
is what
women as
feminism
full
is.
human beings. I see
But
females,
only if,
which
but only if you grant them the right to have certain rights. Otherwise,
No,
they have to live within the
no,
box that you define them.
if men don't grant women rights, then why aren't women allowed rights in the Middle East? In many Middle
But
Eastern
God
countries,
doesn't God give us rights? Isn't our rights granted by God? As a Christian, don't you believe that?
yeah. You want to have a Christian debate?
What I'm saying is all of these things interlinked with one another, and you think they're all separate, and that is
No.
ignorant.
So yeah, of course, men have the monopoly of force. So of course, they're going to be the ones allowing or not allowing certain rights. If men
And
say
that's
no,
natural
as it
and
by a
good.
snap of a finger, the answer is no. If men decided in the United States today we're going to take women's rights to vote away, in a second, women are not going to have the right to vote in a second. That's just an objective fact. I'm not claiming that I'm necessarily advocating for that. I'm just saying that whatever rights women have today, it's because men allowed them to have those rights. It's not because women had pitchforks and signs marching on the streets in the early 1920s. It's because men in government gathered around the table and said, we're going to allow women to vote. We as men are going to allow women to vote. And if you look in the Middle East, many countries there don't allow women to do really anything. And you know what? Women have to follow it because they don't have a choice. Men tell women what they can and cannot do in society. That's just an objective fact. You can say it's misogynistic, but it's true.
It is.
Okay, is it not true though?
I've admitted that over the majority of human history, men have used their monopoly of power just by nature of their physical size to subjugate others. And you think that's natural and fine. And I think as humans, we've evolved past that dumbass caveman thinking.
I want to engage with your definition of feminism, because what I thought, like at least by Oxford Dictionary, the definition of feminism is to make sure that women have all the same legal rights as men. But that's been achieved many decades ago. So then what are you still fighting for today as a feminist?
Yeah, so you agree that if a law is passed that overturns the subjugation of a people, that it doesn't just automatically change to now everything's fine. Everyone that believed that informed that law is now gone. Well, or do you think that that's how it works?
People could still believe what they believed before the law, but the government is not going to allow them to enact those beliefs. That's what the law is in place for. So again, as a feminist, since women have all the same legal rights and actually they have more privileges than men, like they can vote without having to sign up for selective service for one, and a number of other privileges that they are afforded in our society that men aren't. The fact is, women have all the same legal rights as men. What are you still fighting for women?
The fact that you don't think women are full human beings. That's why I'm having this conversation.
I think women are full human beings. I think
that
they
don't deserve rights. That don't deserve rights.
I didn't say that, Brian.
You
You keep saying things that I didn't say. You've been doing it the entire discussion. I think women are full human beings. I don't dehumanize women. I think women are just as valuable as men. I don't think that they're lesser than. I don't think that they're worse. I don't think men are better.
Your Instagram feed would disagree with you.
My Instagram feed is putting clothes on half-naked women dressing in decency in public, which is wrong for children to be exposed to that.
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't think children at the grocery store should see a woman's ass cheeks and her tits. No, I don't think that's
a pedophile in the White House. A pedophile in the White House is fine.
Okay, now you're
so boom that right corner is on point. That's what I'm saying boom about. No, I was actually what I was saying boom about. Sorry, Jason. What I was actually saying boom about was this comment right here that Pinko Pink Prick made. That's what I was saying boom about. Brian is just angry and needs to forgive his mom. He got mama wounds. Baya. Just saying.
Trump derangement syndrome's kicking in.
Yeah.
Can we stay on feminism?
And your simping for Trump is coming to play. So
my Instagram feed,
That's what I was
a
saying.
lot of it is putting a shirt and pants on half-naked women, which is interesting that feminists get angry at me for that because they say they don't want to be sexually objectified by men. And I encourage my followers to date with the intention of marriage, to not have sex until they're married, and to not give women sexual attention in person or online, and to wait to do that with their wife. So how is any of what I'm pushing misogynistic at all?
It's a very narrow worldview of what men and women and humans generally can be. And I think
What they can.
we can accomplish so much more if we bust
You went
outside of
someplace
the
else with
dumb,
that.
arbitrary
Hold on.
boxes that you keep people in. So to answer your question about why I'm a feminist, when I look at how
Because your
women were
hair.
controlled
That's-
over time, you act as if, again, when a law is passed to change something, that instantly they just achieve this full equality and that everything's fine. But there's a lot of things. Contraception for married women wasn't legal until 1965, for unmarried women until 1972. Do you know any women that were alive in that time period? Is that still relevant today? Does
I
that
do.
play a role in people's lives?
I do know
Cool.
women that were alive in that time period.
Forced sterilization, legal and practiced.
You
Eugenics
talk about things
programs
being
were
sterile
active
today.
from the early 1900s to the 1970s, where tens of thousands
And all of
women
that
were
stuff is illegal
sterilized.
today, Brian. So feminism
And-
accomplished.
Back it up, man.
End of
We did it.
discussion.
We
End
did
of
it.
debate.
We did it.
No, but you're
We
still
did
a
it.
feminist. That's the thing. And you have all these man-hating feminists that are still like going around society spewing all their man hatred, which is something we've discussed before when they say it is all men. I hate all men. Do you think that's a bad thing to say?
He
I
doesn't.
think it's not helpful, but I understand the
He
context
understands
for
it.
it.
You
And
understand
again,
the context for it.
I
You
do,
understand the
I do.
context of a
What
woman
a
saying, I hate all
beta.
men. What's the context for that?
You think that just by nature of the fact that you are a man, you can control what women are allowed to do, and
No,
then
Brian, I
you
don't think
get
that.
get your panties in a twist
I
when
don't
women
think that.
respond saying,
So
you do. You just
I don't.
admitted that that's
You
the
keep
way it
telling
works.
me.
That's the natural way
How
it
about
should
Brian?
work, man.
Brian, why don't you just debate Brian? Because apparently you're just going to say everything I believe and all the points that I'm not making, but apparently I am making. So why don't you just debate yourself? Why am I even here?
Nonsense.
Have I put
question.
any
Why are
words in
you
your
here?
mouth at all? Because it seems like I've asked you questions so that I can highlight the way you think. I haven't been putting words in your mouth. You keep putting words in my mouth.
Everything, man. You straw man
Okay,
everything.
then if it's a straw
Ignorance.
man, then I'm giving you, I ask a question and you can take as long as you want to explain why it's a straw man and why I'm wrong. So you think that there's context to why a woman can say, I hate all men. Do you think that there's context for why a white guy can say, I hate all black people?
No.
No. Do you think there's context for why a
American
man can,
society.
do you think there's context for why a man can say, I hate all women?
No.
No. So you pick and choose when it's okay to be hateful to an entire demographic of people.
You are ignoring power. You're ignoring power. Does power imbalance not mean anything to you until it's useful? Until it's used to describe
No,
how natural
I'm not
it is
ignoring.
that men have
Well,
power.
yeah, men have more physical power than women, and they always will, because that's just how we are biologically. You have some exceptions where some women are physically stronger than the average man, but that's an exception, doesn't disprove the rule. That doesn't change the fact that it is an inappropriate statement to make as anyone to say, I hate all men, whether you're a man or a woman. And there is no in between, there's just men or women. Because I heard you say earlier, there's like a third group of people. There's not, there's just men or women.
Yeah,
So
intersex doesn't exist.
Your intersex conditions exist either male specific or female specific. There are male specific intersex conditions and female specific intersex conditions. You can keep saying no and say that I ignore the science. So Brian, my point.
I stayed on that live we had a couple days ago where I mentioned intersex people and you called it incest.
I meant to say intersex.
Yeah,
I meant to say
no
intersex.
idea what it is.
No, Brian, because I
misspoke.
What it is. Because I misspoke.
You
Brian.
don't. And then you disregard.
Okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Hundreds of millions of people.
I'm not disregarding
It's
anyone. I'm saying that those people have
telling them they don't fit into your this or that worldview.
They do. Because they just have a condition. Someone born without an arm still is a human being, but they're a human being born without an arm, and it's an abnormal birth feature. It's not something that. It's not a different kind of human being. It's just a human being that has a genetic condition.
If someone has the stereotypical female chromosomes, but then has male genitalia, what are they?
Okay, let's go back to you justifying women saying they hate all
Exactly.
men. No, but
Exactly.
this is not a trans
Exactly.
debate. I would be happy to have a trans debate with you, but I don't want to get off into the weeds away from
You
the subject
ignore
at hand.
exactly. If you don't maintain this narrow lane of what masculinity is and what feminism is, your worldview falls apart because you can't have a conversation in the gray, about nuance. You want it to be, this is the way it is. And the world is not that way. You ignore the fact that trans people exist,
Hold
that
on.
intersex people exist,
Oh my
that
gosh,
there's
there's so
women
much.
that can beat the shit out of you.
Hold on. Okay, so yeah, huh? I agree with what you said, pink prick. Yes, huh? Glenn, their names are right there. That's the only thing I know about them. Right, is right there. Their names are right on the screen. I so badly want to jump into this debate. I need to just breathe, you guys. Breathe. Just breathe. And why would you be mad? He's defending you women. Brian is for you women. He is so for you guys. So why are you upset at Brian? He is so for you guys. He is so far off. It's embarrassing. No, he is. Listen, ladies, Brian is defending you guys, like hardcore defending you. Julian, you know it's true. He's defending the women. I mean, come on. Are you guys going to tell me that you guys are really all that submissive to a man? Really? Be honest. Right? I mean, you want to do all that. I could go there. I want to. Do you guys really want to be that submissive to a man? He's a woman. Not this woman. You see? Wait, not this woman. See? That's what I'm trying to say. He's defending you guys. You want to be that woman. Like you guys don't want to be that submissive woman and stuff like what the right corner is talking about. You want to be what Brian's defending you guys. He's defending the women. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Shh. He's a woman. What do you mean? Shh. What does that mean? Don't tell nobody or what? Mama Bear says stop it. What? Okay, I want to continue. I want to continue to let Brian help you ladies.
And men that like are just, like you ignore the gray.
I just said 2 minutes ago, there are exceptions to the rule that there are women that are stronger, physically stronger than the average man. I just acknowledged that. And you're saying I'm ignoring these things. So you're justifying, why is it justifiable for any woman to say, I hate all men?
Hold on.
Why is
angry? This is very sexist. What is wrong with a man cleaning the kitchen? Ask. Okay, so the ladies on here are not feminist. Ask the ladies on here if there's a problem with a man cleaning the kitchen. I'll wait for the answer for them to talk to you about that. I'll just put my head down because I'm not going to look. Just saying. They don't call him Tampon Tim for nothing. They don't want to respond. They're waiting. They're typing out a paragraph right now. What is wrong with a man cleaning the kitchen? Ask the ladies. See? I'm waiting for it. We'll see if someone says the right answer. Oh, man. This is fun. In my house, see, we got the first lady that stepped up. In my house, you'd clean too, angry. See? So, Brian, I just said that Brian's sticking up for the ladies. I said that. I just got through saying that Brian is sticking up for the ladies. Uh-oh. There isn't a problem with a man cleaning the kitchen. However, if a man is providing for his woman, he shouldn't have to clean the kitchen. I don't know. There might be differences of opinions with some of the ladies in here on that one. I don't know. See, angry. Look what you started. Now you got the guys favoring Brian and coming after you, angry. Reverend Gunn coming straight. Mama Bear says it's called mutual respect. Oh my goodness. I can't. I can't. All right. We're just going to keep it going.
Is that a justified statement?
Cool. So you think that over all of human history, and not all, because there's been matriarchal societies that have had way better outcomes and happiness levels, throughout history. But the majority of human history, a lot of societies have been patriarchal, and men have allowed women to have rights. They've allowed women to have control over their body when finally men decide that that's okay. And you think that no woman should ever mutter the word "I hate men."
What?
Because of why?
So you're saying because of what bad men in the past have done to women, it's justifiable for a blue-haired or a usually blonde-haired white liberal woman to espouse the view that I hate all men. You think that that's an appropriate comment for a woman in 2026 to say because of what women had to deal with hundreds of years ago that she never had to experience herself? Is that your argument?
Yeah, we just talked about how.
Is that your argument?
You just talked about how recent history plays a role.
Is that your argument, Brian? Okay, let's say in 1960, you have a, let's say, 26-year-old radical feminist, blonde hair white woman, because that's usually what they are in the United States that are the most radical feminists, that hate all men. And she says, I hate all men. Why is that an appropriate comment to make when she never experienced any of this so-called oppression that you're claiming women in the past experienced?
Because ignorance that you embody exists. My belief, here's why I believe that. I believe boys are raised to not be men. I think
you didn't answer the
boys
question.
Boys are just raised. I'm answering the question. If you'd shut up, I'd answer the question. Right? Here's me answering the question. Okay. I think why women can say I hate men and I understand it is because I think boys are raised to hate women. I think boys are raised to not be women. I think boys are told you're not allowed to express emotion unless it's anger, because emotion is for women, and women cry and women show emotion, and therefore that's bad. Therefore, I make this connection between having emotions, women, bad. So I think a lot of men subconsciously grow up hating women, and I think you embody it. The fact that you
think I hate women?
Yeah, I do. I think you subconsciously hate women. Yeah, I definitely.
I subconsciously hate women.
Yeah, I think you view women
I don't hate
as
my
objects.
mom. My mom actually agrees with me. That's the funny. Does my mom hate women because she agrees with me?
She's also a victim of patriarchy. Yeah,
she's a victim of patriarchy.
Women. Yeah, I think we all are. I think we all exist under a messed up system, and we have the power to change it. To live in a world where rules can be rewritten.
Wait a minute.
If I love my mom,
time out. I've never heard that in my life. A victim of patriarchy. I have never heard that one. I've heard all the other victim nonsense. I've never heard a victim of patriarchy. There's a first for everything. I'm a victim of. I've never even heard being a victim of feminism or being a victim of feminist. I've never even heard that. That one took the cake. A victim of patriarchy. Wow. Oh, I'm going to use it. I want to so use it.
I love rules and crusty ass institutions as opposed to recognizing what a world could be.
You're saying I hate women. I love my mom. There's women in my life that I have a lot of appreciation for. I love my grandma a lot.
Women generally.
I don't hate women generally. There's 4 billion women on the planet, and I've met a very small fraction of them. I do think there's a culture of women in the United States, especially amongst my generation, that are being raised to be man-haters. We see it all over social media.
I wonder why that could be, because men have granted them to have rights when it's convenient for them. Why would women ever be frustrated and hate men? We've been so generous with the power we've bestowed upon them just to be able to vote within the last couple generations, just to be able to not be raped by their husband and it not be a crime until the 70s or whatever. So again, you ignore the power imbalance and then get your panties in a bunch when you hear a woman say, I hate men. And that is pathetic. That is not masculinity.
You don't
That
think
is
it's pathetic
weakness.
for a girl
Pathetic.
living in air conditioning that has been more privileged than any group of people ever on the planet in the United States to sit there in her comfortable car that daddy bought her saying, I hate all men? You don't
Is
think
that
that
all
that's an
women?
inappropriate comment to make?
I
That's-
really
that-
don't care about
That's
that
a lot of
random
these
one
women that,
person.
yes,
Well, real
Brian,
quick,
that's a
guys,
lot of these women that say that I hate all men comment. They're living in comfort and they're the most privileged group of people to ever exist on planet Earth. Yeah.
RC, Brian, what I want to just cut in real quick to say is we're about halfway through the open dialogue. We're coming up on end of the 29th minute, 30th minute. Just want to ask everyone, like the video. If you just joined us, we got tickets for DebateCon 8 coming up in July in the description. And I want to go ahead and try to start the second half with potentially you guys steel man each other's position. A lot of people in the audience were really curious about that too. And I think that'd be a good way to kind of see if there is some straw manning going on and where, you guys might be able to clear up each other's perception of your view of it.
I'd be happy to go first. I think your mindset is flawed, and that's why it's hard to engage with it. But I believe what you're trying to say is that it's natural for men to subjugate women by power of the force that they have, and men allow women to have certain rights over time. That's been true. I can't deny that historically men have used their size and power to hold power over women. I believe in a modern society that we've progressed to the point of finally viewing humans as humans. Again, we weren't that far removed from individual generations that viewed individuals as property and objects. So we can't ignore the fact that that mindset has been ingrained into people over generation after generation. So I don't disagree with the fact that, yes, men have used this power. I think it's wrong. And I think it's up to real men who recognize the humanity in women to push back on arbitrary power structures that limit all of us by putting men in a box to say you're only allowed to do these things because if you step outside of it, that's for women. I think that's so damaging and counter to what this whole experiment of humanity is all about. My view is that this is about love and connection. And it seems like your view is more about power and who can hold it. And I think we should evolve beyond that. I think the rules are up for being rewritten, especially now than ever. And I want to live in a world where we view all humans as equal in terms of social, economic, and political power.
All right.
And it feels as if you'd rather keep them in control.
All right, that was 2 minutes. I will afford you the same, Robbie. 2 minutes.
Tie him up
on the steel man, if you could.
Yeah, so to steelman his argument, he kind of steelmanned it there at the end. It's just this sort of kumbaya, love and peace. Women can do anything a man can do. He will recognize that there are biological differences, but he advocates for a sort of egalitarian society that gender roles are really non-existent, that it's all homogenous, and that guys like me espousing what I'm espousing are sexists. We're archaic. We're ignoring history. We're ignoring science. We're ignoring facts. We're only espousing the views that we're espousing because of an archaic religion and that we're misogynistic and we hate women. So again, I mean, it's easy to put out like a kumbaya message, love is love, peace is peace. But it's just ignoring historical facts, such as the fact that there are already societies. I was just sum it up here. There's already societies raising children to be egalitarian in Scandinavia, and we see the Scandinavian paradox. And we've seen patriarchy in societies that were isolated from any influence of patriarchal European powers that also formed patriarchal structures themselves.
All right, thanks, man. Let's get back to the open dialogue.
I want to ask you a question, RC. Can men and women be friends?
No.
What?
No.
What do you mean?
No, I mean, they can be acquaintances, but when I say that men and women can't be friends, it's because if you're in a relationship, if your girlfriend wants to go to a movies alone with a guy and wants to sleep over at his place, that's a big problem. Well, that's what friends do sometimes. I have a friend right now that slept over at our other mutual friend's house, and there's nothing weird about that. But if he was sleeping but that friend is married to a woman, and if his wife knew that he was sleeping over at another girlfriend's house, a friend that's just a girl, she would have a problem with that, and she rightfully should, because the friendship dynamics between men and women are very different than between two men and two women. So no, I mean,
Why?
we can just loosely say that men and women can be friends, but when we actually like analyze it, why? It's because we are designed to procreate with one another. We're supposed to be in relationships that are romantic with one another. And I think that the only exception is maybe like a gay man that's friends with a woman. That might be one of the only, because he's kind of like a woman anyway.
Oh my God.
Okay, tell me why I'm wrong. You think men and women can be friends? Of course, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold
I think
on,
you're really
wait.
missing out on-
Okay, hold on. Is he talking about like in relationship, like a husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend? Or is he talking about like outside of that? How is he stating that? Yeah, is he stating that? Which, if he's stating it on the outside of it, he's kind of right. He's kind of right if he's stating it on the outside of that. In a way, it's it can be sticky. No, he's talking about like friends, not in a relationship. Yeah, it can be sticky. I kind of agree with him, because yeah, it can be sticky.
What humanity is all
On
about.
what pain?
You think
What am I missing out on?
friendship, connection, intimacy, camaraderie.
I have friendships already with men. So what am I missing out on with the women? Listening to their gossip, paying for their food, listening to the men that they're sleeping around with. Like, what am I missing out on?
See, so, and you say you don't hate women, but that's how you view them, is that they only talk about gossip, what they bought, and who they're sleeping with.
Angry.
I mean, that's a lot of what they talk about. They like to read.
Sounds like you haven't really been around women.
I have. And that's what a lot of them talk about. That's what a lot of the subjects are. I've been in groups of friends where there's women, and usually women cause a lot of gossip in it. And that's just how women are. That's why they like to watch these reality shows. Is it not true that women typically like to watch reality shows where there's a lot of drama, and men typically like to watch war movies where it's like about force and power?
No drama in those.
Men typically don't like to watch dramatic romantic shows like Love is Blind or Love on the Spectrum or stuff like that. That's usually like,
they're not really a man. They're not a true man if they do enjoy it.
I ask you a question. Do you notice that there is a difference generally with the stuff women like to watch and read and the stuff men like to watch and read?
I think humans enjoy all kinds of stuff.
That's just another kumbaya non-answer to the questions that I'm asking.
Because you want to force people into a box that you decide.
It's observable behavior, Brian. It's observable pattern behavior. You don't notice that women typically like to watch and read stuff that men typically don't necessarily watch and read themselves?
Sure.
So why couldn't you have just started with that?
Because it doesn't matter at all.
It does. It shows.
My question.
It does matter because women's brains are different from men's brains. I've already established that. So of course, their neural networks are literally different. There's a lot of similarities between men and women, but there's clear and distinct differences. And it's a neurological difference. It's a biological difference. The hormones in our bodies are different. We are different. So it is a this and or that. It is black and white. We are different.
I agree that men and women are different.
It doesn't seem like you agree, because when I point out the differences, you call me a sexist, misogynistic person.
You are.
Just embrace it.
You are.
Misogynistic means that I hate women. That's what that means.
Yes, and I think you hate
Just
women.
embrace it.
I have no problem.
Generally.
Okay, there's a lot of men that I don't like, to be honest. And I would say you're one of the men on that list. I'm not a big fan of you or many other leftist men. I'm not a big fan. Does that make me misandristic that I hate men? Does that make me sexist against men, that I don't like a lot of men? I would say there's way more men that I don't like than women, by the way. Am I sexist against men?
And yet you focus all of your attention on.
Am I sexist against men?
The reason why I ask you whether or not
am I sexist against men? Is this work? Am I sexist against men?
No, you're just an asshole.
So when I disagree with men and I push back on men, I'm not a sexist against.
When do you do that?
Why is Brian and I emotional?
I'm doing it with you right now. I'm in a debate with you right now.
And yet your entire Instagram feed is you
Putting
what?
clothes on women that are half naked? That's misogynistic of me?
And you think women's bodies are like inherently sexual? Is that what you think?
Facts.
Yeah, women's bodies are much more
Facts.
sexual, because men have a temptation to want to pursue and have sex with women. Yes. I think we should
And
control that
that's-
urge and wait for it until marriage. Yes, but absolutely, men are the ones
I
that
agree
court
with you,
women. Men are
Jason.
the ones that pursue women. Yes.
Okay, so do you see how like your mindset is kind of just it's very whack. It's putting all of the it's saying it's basically saying women can only exist in ways that I deem appropriate because men can't control ourselves. And you think that's the problem of feminism or women's problem?
I just said men should control their urges. We can control our urges, and
You
we
seem
should
to
wait
not be
until
able to.
marriage. Why is that? Why do I seem to not be able to control my urges?
Because you lash out on any woman living her life, posting about her life.
Lashing out
You
by putting clothes on her?
offense to it. Yeah, you take offense to it.
I'm not. You think I'm offended because she decided to dress as legally naked as possible out in
It
public?
sounds like you were hurt by a woman in your life, and you're taking it out on all of us.
Modesty.
Sure,
That's
there
what
have
it
been
sounds
women
like.
that have hurt me in my life, and they have shown me female nature. It doesn't mean that every woman is the
Female
same.
nature.
Yeah, there's also male nature too.
Yes, there is.
We both have our own distinct nature, and we can see that in pattern behavior. We can see that just like any other species on the planet has biological rules and distinct behaviors between males and females. Yeah.
And so the fact that men were allowed to rape their wives legally
Here we go.
until just about 50 years ago, that nature
What's Jesse's
is
number? I'm gonna look.
right. And yet we had to pass laws to prevent it from happening. Why do you think age of consent laws exist?
That's
Because there are disgusting people in society that do disgusting things, like a man abusing his wife, sexually assaulting his wife or any woman. Because there
That's
are men
natural.
that abuse. No,
just
it's
natural.
not. I wouldn't say it's natural for
Oh, it's
human
not. That's
beings.
our nature. That's our nature.
Okay,
isn't
if you
it,
want to
as men?
argue that it's natural, then we also have a sense of morality, because I'm also a Christian. And I would argue that that's why we need a sense of morality to not engage in some of our instinctual behaviors. Yeah, it is wrong. It's absolutely wrong to abuse women, to sexually assault women. And it's wrong for women to do the same to men.
I agree. Sexual assault is wrong on all levels. Yeah, but you're using this it's natural argument to justify all kinds of things until I point out to you something that is heinous, and then you finally push back on it. The reason why age of consent laws exist
This is the best
if
one.
natural hierarchy and male dominance are natural and right, why would we need to protect young women from older men exercising that?
Yeah, who made
dominance?
those age of consent laws? Who drafted those age of consent laws? And
It's
who
a
forces those age of
combination
who forces those age of consent laws? Women? Men do.
It's interesting.
Right?
I mean, it depends
Who
on
forces
when
the
they're
age of
enforced.
consent laws?
It depends on who they're enforced. It depends on if they're enforced at all, because a lot of
How are any laws
assault on
enforced,
women
by the
is-
way? Any laws at all? Laws against stealing, laws against rape, laws against age of consent. Who forces those laws and who drafts those laws? And who makes sure that those laws are followed?
See, again, you're backing into a result because men have dominated women in all kinds of ways. You think that it's natural that then men, of course, we give these rights to women because, you know, I don't understand your argument because it doesn't make any sense. If the answer implicates power, not nature, is what it's about. And just because men have held those positions of power, and collectively men and women and transgender people have pushed back against that power imbalance, and we're finally reaching a place in today's world where there is at least the acknowledgement that women are full human beings. I mean, that's finally the place we've arrived. And you're looking at, again, the situation backwards.
Finally, the place we've arrived, and women have never been unhappier.
And again, you're using correlation,
Why?
not causation.
It's the place we've arrived. Well, I'm not making any correlation.
I can't talk about capitalism because that has nothing to do with anything. Am I right?
Capitalism has been in the United States for how many hundreds of years? And women didn't seem to be unhappy before. Now, when they entered in male-dominated spaces and they're trying to act and live out a life of men, when they're trying to be managers and leaders and girl bosses, of course they're going to be miserable because that's not their biological role. It's not. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. If you take Erica Kirk, for example, she was put in a very unfortunate circumstance that her husband was assassinated, and now she's in the spot of having to be a CEO. But even Erica
She
Kirk,
has to. She's forced into it.
even Erica Kirk, yeah, widows don't have a choice, Brian. Sorry, widows don't have that choice.
They have to presume the role of CEO from their husband's organization.
She didn't have the choice. Yes, widows don't have the choice. When their husband is assassinated, when their husband dies, or when their husband cheats and abandons the family, a woman is put into a position that she has to also fill the role of a man. It's unfortunate, but those scenarios do exist. Yes, Brian. But my point is that we should not be encouraging women to sacrifice a family instead of a career. In place of a career, I should say. And there's a lot of young girls that have been lied to and have been told, your life will be fulfilled if you're a girl boss, by being a manager, being a CEO, being a leader. And then they're miserable because that is a man's role. Biologically, men want to lead, they want to protect, they want to provide. They always have, even in societies that were isolated from outside influence. You see the same thing there. So, I mean, it's irrefutable if you observe this objectively.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, cool.
Do you any counter to anything that I'm saying?
It's nonsense, man. You say that men are this way, and then you acknowledge the fact that, well, not all men are that way, and some women are this way. But then you want to enforce rigid rules, and that is it's dumb.
Okay,
it's dumb.
Can you even define what a woman is? Since that's pretty much the subject of the debate. We've been talking about women the whole time. What is a woman?
They're a combination of biological and social factors that inform what a woman is, what a man is, what a non-binary person is.
What?
Again, you'd rather inspect people's
So what's the difference between
to decide what people are, right?
What's the difference between a man
to you?
What's the difference between a man and a woman?
Which man and which woman?
Oh my goodness.
What's the difference between a boy dog and a girl dog? What's the difference?
All right, so often men present with things that are grown out of testosterone, right? Facial hair, body hair, that type of stuff. Estrogen informs a body a different way. But the reality is there's people that have existed on both sides of the spectrum, in the middle of the spectrum, outside of that spectrum for all of humanity. And again, you'd rather force people. This
is modern day feminism. It's arguing that even males can be women, and it's arguing that it's justifiable for a woman to just hate all men. That's modern day feminism. Just a bunch of man-hating women that think males can be men.
Tell me about
the
Salem witch trials. Tell me about the Salem witch trials, bro. Tell me about those.
Does that have anything to do with what I just said?
The fact that women at that time were outspoken. Maybe they had property. Maybe they were a widow and they were pushing back on some of the power structures that existed within the town that they operated within. Those women were then cast out as hysteric and witches and burnt at the stake, right? And murdered. And you don't think that mindset that drove that has any implication on today? All these laws that were passed that prevented women from doing things, that kept women in their place. It's absurd to have this conversation.
No, Brian, I don't think that it's appropriate. History. If a woman wants to be a combative girl boss, disrespecting men, hate all men, I think that she can do that. I don't think that we should burn her at the stake for it. I don't think we should abuse her.
You acknowledge that historically we have done that. You acknowledge that historically that's what's been done. Women have been lobotomized because they've been hysterical and just had personality.
And women, can I engage?
Go for it.
There was a small sect of our society that performed these Salem witch trials. And I think that's wrong and evil. And you pointed to Native American tribes that a lot of them were matriarchal. Guess what? They skinned people alive and they performed cannibalism. So those matriarchal societies.
Yeah, I heard you say that about cannibalism earlier today, and it's based on, again, a white supremacist myth.
It's a myth. Yeah. So you're going to claim that there were no Native American tribes engaging in cannibalism?
The fact that you go to it as,
can you answer the question? Those matriarchal.
Do you think only Native Americans have ever?
I asked you those matriarchal.
Has Epstein committed cannibalism?
Real quick.
Okay. Class?
I don't think he's answered any of my questions.
Well, for this one, I just want to step in because I have been trying to stay out of it. You guys have been pretty good about balancing time back and forth, and I appreciate that. because you talk over people, no one can hear either of you, so it doesn't really help. But you guys are doing good. We got about 15 minutes left or so. So we'll take the last 10 minutes, go back and forth. If you want to ask your question again, you can answer the question and then give all the qualifiers you want after that. Just that's the best order. So he knows the position. And then in case you go too long with the qualifiers, we can get back on to the whatever train of thought he was trying to complete
Mike,
there.
a
And
question
vice
for you
versa.
though. Is there a Q&A segment? Because I think I
Yeah,
read that in
absolutely.
there. Yeah? Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I was just about to remind the chat guys, if you want to get some super chats in, we got plenty for Brian. Obviously there's going to be a little bit of controversy with any anti-pro choice, and right now we got a lot of good questions coming in. Not all of them are super chats though, so if you want me to ask them, send them as a super chat.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, I'm gonna start the time back up here, and we'll do 10 minutes, and then we'll get into the last 5 minutes. I'll let you guys do maybe like 2.5 minutes, or two minutes, 2.5 minutes closings each, if you'd like.
Yeah, look, Brian, my observation, and of course it's anecdotal, it's not just my personal experience. My personal experience is why I started making content, though. It's not because of stuff that I saw online. Every feminist that I've ever met is just like a miserable adult child, very entitled, and they hate men. Most feminists that I've ever met just hate men. They have a prejudice against men, and you've even defended that it's okay for them to hate men. And I think that they believe that they can do all the things a man can do. That's a lie that they've been told. That's a lie they try to live out. And they're miserable because of it. And I think that if they were to just prioritize having a family, but I don't think we should be forcing them to do that. By the way, I do think that they should voluntarily want to do it, which they do. Instinctively, they do want that. They have to be trained out of it. Feminism trains them out of it. That's learned behavior to be a feminist. It's not natural to be a feminist. But anyway, most of these feminist women that I've ever met are very miserable people. And they're dislikable to be around. Most of the most pleasant people that I've met are like Christian conservative people that are like civilized. Anyway, I don't know what you think of that.
I think women have just finally, and not even by the Roe versus Wade overturned, just gained agency over their own bodies within the last generation of individuals. I think that is a brand new thing that we've finally decided as a civilized culture that should exist. And what I hear from those anti-feminists is that we should not allow women to have full control over their bodies, over their rights when it pertains to speaking in public, holding certain jobs. It feels as if
to their bodies.
Yeah, they're women's bodies.
We want to prevent them from killing human life, like aborting human life. Yeah, because that's what other part of their body are we trying to stop them from? Getting tattoos, from getting surgeries?
I mean, again, I just told you that.
I think you're referring to abortion, which is killing human life.
I just told you that marital rape wasn't a crime until the last couple decades. So,
evil. And it was also legal to own Black people, and that was extremely evil. So I'm not defending evil things.
Keep going.
Right, those things were evil.
Restrict people from having autonomy over themselves and how they can represent themselves. That's evil.
It's evil to coerce and to force and to subjugate someone forcibly into something they don't want to do. That's not my argument. My argument is that women naturally want to be submissive. They want to nurture. They want to have a family. Feminism is learned behavior that trains them out of their instinctual nature.
All this shit is learned behavior, man. All of it is. We live in the context of the history that comes before us. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The menu of what you believe is available to you in life was given to you mostly by your parents, and then what you've perceived the world around you to be as you've grown up. The experiences, the one-off experiences you've had with certain women in your life have deeply informed your worldview. And then you look for evidence to back up that worldview, and you ground it in emotional reactivity.
Okay, Brian. So you're right that, of course, I've had my own anecdotal experiences, many of them. And there's a lot of pattern behavior that I've picked up on. When I started making content, why have literally millions of men resonated with the things that I have to say? And many tens of thousands of them have messaged me and said, thank you for saying what you're saying, because guys in India are experiencing it. Guys in China are experiencing it. Men all around the United States are experiencing it. Men in South America are experiencing it. Men all over the world are experiencing the things that I'm saying. So why is that? Because they just hate women?
Because we've created a socioeconomic system that has deprived humans of their dignity and their humanity. And when we've been told historically over time that, hey, men, we're going to treat you like shit. We're going to send you off to war to fight battles on behalf of oligarchs. We're going to dehumanize you and tell you that you're not allowed to demonstrate your emotion or have emotions, just so long as you understand you're better than women. And then as women have gotten more economic, social power, that has broken, that contract has broken down. And so men have been forced to, they haven't adapted to the fact that the world has changed around them, and that instead of recognizing, because now we don't have the monopoly on protection and providing, there's other ways men can bring value to relationships. And that's the point I want to make, is that you view women as categories, not as humans. They're as wife, as mother, as acquaintance, not as full humans. And that's my point of why I asked.
I also view men as categories, Brian. I also view men as categories, and I view both as full humans.
And that's damaging. That's the patriarchy that's infected your brain.
Brian, I also categorize men. Does that mean that I don't view men as full humans? Because it seems like you're only using that against women.
I'm looking at the fact that historically men have used their power to subjugate women. That's the point we're talking about. Well,
I categorize both men and women, and I view both as full humans. So I don't only view men as full humans.
Because women can't be friends with you, though. That's a category they can't exist as.
I can have acquaintances that are women, and I will cut them off when I'm in a relationship, because it's disrespectful to be friends with someone of the opposite sex when you have committed your life to someone else. Yeah, that's disrespectful.
But anyway, ignorant. That's ignorant.
Yeah,
you're missing out.
That's fine.
You're missing out.
I'm not missing, Brian. I used to have female friends, and you know what ends up happening every single time? We end up making out, or one of us makes an advance to the other one, because there's always going to be that sexual tension between two people of the opposite sex that have some kind of attraction to the other one. And it's almost impossible for a man and a woman that are both heterosexual to not have some kind of attraction to the other one, whether it's the man to the woman or vice versa.
That sounds like a you problem.
What I was going to say, because I wanted to respond to what you just said, that there is, a lot of this unhappiness that these men are feeling, and they're reaching out to me because they resonate with the things that I'm saying. And you're like, well, because we live in a different world now, where women now have all the same rights that men have, and now they're doing all the things men have historically done. But what my counter to that is, maybe we're just disrupting the natural order of things. Just like if we disrupted the natural order of any other species and their biological role, nature would go out of order. Maybe that's actually what's happening.
We talked about how laws and social pressure have forced women into subjugation. And you're talking about how, and again, an example of that is marital rape laws just being passed in the last few decades. Where does a law become evil versus the natural order?
Well, again, those laws, whether it's about rape or any other offense, were passed by men, they were enforced by men, and they're carried out by men. So it still takes a patriarchy to fix the issues of these crimes.
The patriarchy.
Yes, yeah. It's a men. Right?
I mean, natural and good.
It's a male-dominated society where men gather around and they decide these are the laws we want to enact, and it's going to take a strong arm of men to enforce those laws that we're enacting.
And the fact that we don't view women enough as human beings to invite them to that table says all you need to say about your disdain for women.
It's not a disdain for women. I think
it is. They're not allowed at the table.
This is where we're not allowed. We're just talking past each other, or
they're not allowed at the table in your worldview. That's disdain for them. You don't view them as full human beings that can inform.
I think that there are exceptions to the rule. I think that there are. I think there are exceptions to the rule where women can be in a leadership position, where women can have that seat at the table. There's few exceptions, even in those patriarchal empires that I named in China and in Japan and in Thailand, there were exceptions where sometimes they had a female leader. But overall, I think it's
Overall,
going
it's
to
not.
disrupt the natural order of
No
things
woman
if we
president.
tell women to all act like men and be like men and enter male-dominated spaces
No
and to
one's
be
saying
leaders.
that. No one's saying that.
That's what feminism is saying, yes.
No, it's not.
Yes,
no,
it
it's
is.
not. And that's why I asked you to define at the beginning, and you think it's a pushback on patriarchy. You can't even really
It
define
is.
patriarchy.
It absolutely is.
And you think
Patriarchy is a
that's
male-dominated society that men have the force and men have the control.
and feminism is
That's what a
telling
patriarchy
women they are men. They're just like men. That's what feminism is.
Feminism
They
is
want to
lying
be.
to young girls to fit outside of their
And you can't
biological
even define
role.
it. You can't even define it.
I just told you, asked me is what feminism's advocating for, and I'm telling you, feminism is advocating
Equality. Equality.
So
equality's been matched. I mean, it's already been met. Sorry, equality has already been found. That women have all the same legal rights as men.
When did we strike that perfect balance of equality?
I would say
Tell
that
me when.
I think 1972 was the last gender
Age of what?
discrimination law that was passed that gave women the right to have all the
And-
same rights as men in the United States.
Again, and then from that
Maybe
point
it was
on,
1975. Legally, yes.
And then from that point on, everything is kumbaya and men. And
Yeah,
women, just
women
like-
have
That's
all
how
the
you
same
want it,
legal
Brian,
rights as men.
yes.
Correct. After that
And you
point,
think
women have
that-
all the same legal rights that men have.
So societal pressure, I mean, cultural pressure, those things are those
Probably
just
even
don't
more.
exist. It's just
Those
Those
are
are always
people.
going to
laws are the
exist.
only thing that
Those are
uphold-
always
uphold
going to
rules.
exist because we have biological innate drives. We are a patriarchal species. You can't remove that from the fact of what we are. It's like clouds in the sky. It's just what it is. You're trying to argue if it's good or bad. I'm just saying it is
Brian
what it
wants
is.
the
It just
cloud
exists.
seed.
On that
Just
note,
like every other
And
species has
it's a hatred of
biological
women,
goals.
and it's
on
rooted
that
in a
note
hatred
right
of
there,
women.
Okay.
RC, I appreciate you
He wants the cloud seed.
taking the anti-side
You don't
and
want real
arguing as
clouds,
best
he
you
wants a
can, and
cloud
vice
seed.
versa, Brian. We're gonna go ahead and do some closing statements and get into the Q&A. Guys, get your questions in. We got about 30 minutes, possibly a little bit more if we get enough questions, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But yeah, it's been awesome. And if you want, at the end of your closing statement, give a quick shout out to your channel. We'll do that again at the very end. So just two times here. But go ahead and we'll let Brian do his closing first, and then RC second.
Yeah. So again, I think we have our own unique flavor of patriarchy in the United States today, but societies over millennia have recognized that separating tasks like working, cooking, protecting, childcare doesn't really make much sense to separate arbitrarily by what hangs or does not hang between your legs. If you can work, great. If you can cook or take care of a house, great. It's absurd to think that because of your genitalia, this is the way the world should work. It is it's a smooth-brained idea of how the world should work. And I guess I want to invite men who have natural biases towards believing women are inferior or can't accomplish certain things or can't hold certain roles or aren't able
This
to
goes
do
back to
certain
that scene
things.
the other night
I
about
invite those men to do some self-reflection and understand where those biases can come from, because you can change. You can recognize the fact that by nature of me being a man, the fact that we live in a male defaulted world where just up until like the 90s, I think from a medical perspective, modern medicine only viewed the male anatomy, and the female anatomy has been completely disregarded. And that's why we have conditions like examples of like a heart attack symptom.
Pinko Pink. It's called a kilt. It's called a kilt. Okay, that's what it's called. That's what it's called. Ooh, dang it. I can't believe I just did that. Where was I at? Oops.
Is a equal human being and
Called
that
kilt.
respects you as much as you respect them.
Awesome. I love when people take the opportunity to combat the ops in all regards. It makes for better content. You know, some people are just like, I'm not going to respond to that, and that's a technique too. So
No, it's a pathetic man that needs to lash out because he's insecure about himself. That's fine.
yeah, I mean, it's all optional, voluntary here.
There was one that was emotionally triggered the whole time. Interesting.
Brian, why? This is from Even Lord. Appreciate you, Even Lord, for 5. Brian, why should feminism be pushed by government when women are currently not fulfilling their unique duty in society? Christianity is the way. W. Mike. Thanks, Even Lord.
I mean, I'm curious what the role of women is, because I've seen women do some pretty badass things that aren't just the domestic life that
because they
ignorant men like to put them in. So I don't know. I think women are badass. I think men can be badass too. But again, when we try to force each other
why they want
into
so much
very
equalness? I
specific,
don't.
very narrow boxes of what we think humans
Right.
can be, we're limiting our potential as humans.
Why do they want so much equalness?
More ignorance, I guess.
Awesome. Appreciate your response to that. I think I got one for RC here. Let's see.
So
Did I copy
this
it?
dude should have hit him upside the head.
Or this one's for both of you, actually. From Diley 999. How would you each explain the male loneliness epidemic?
Do you want a certain person to go first?
Why don't you go first, and then we'll go back the other way.
The male loneliness epidemic. I think that there are a lot of frustrated men that don't want to date a combative, nasty, disrespectful woman.
Amen.
And that doesn't mean that there aren't nasty, combative, and disrespectful men. But I do think that a lot of these women are never held accountable. Most of them have really never been told no to anything. And a lot of guys just don't want to subject themselves to marrying someone that's going to disrespect him by dressing half naked in public, by having a bunch of guy friends, by speaking down to him, emasculating him. And yeah, I mean, it's we prefer to be married. We prefer to want to raise a family with a wife. And it does sometimes get lonely when we don't, when we don't lower ourselves to dating someone like that, when we don't compromise on our values, because sometimes it's a temptation to want to compromise on your values just to date a woman that's very nasty and combative. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of guys are single because by choice, they just refuse to subject themselves to marrying into a quarrelsome life with a wife that's going to disrespect him until he is in the grave and sad.
That's crazy.
You see how
that.
RC's answer to that
That's
question
crazy.
was just around fulfilling the duty or the accomplishment of having a wife. What we're talking about is a serious issue that are affecting a lot of men. And when I asked earlier if men and women can be friends, and you emphatically said no, RC, you are depriving men from realizing an active way to combat that loneliness. I don't know if I believe in the concept of a slow burn. I think that's exciting. You meet someone, you're friends, you realize you get to know that person as a human being. Maybe you date other people, but you recognize the humanity of that other person. Then over time, maybe you realize, oh, hey, like we have something here. Let's give it a shot. You try something. But it never would have happened under RC's worldview where men and women cannot be friends. But there's a lot of things I think actively contributing to the male loneliness epidemic. I think there's been a decline of like male dominated space, like third spaces. Unions were a big place that men congregated, and unions have been systematically dismantled in a lot of ways in our country. I think that there's been, the deindustrialization has gutted manufacturing, historically male dominated jobs, and sent them to other countries. This is why I didn't want to just avoid capitalism as part of this conversation, because the male loneliness, I think, is inextricably linked to the unrealized promise of what capitalism can provide. And so I think that male loneliness is a serious issue. And I think driving this wedge.
So real quick, I want to show you
how
guys something.
men and women can operate in the world only exacerbates that loneliness.
I want to show you guys something real quick. See, this would stop what's his face in his tracks. He'd get mad. He'd be so mad. In Genesis 2, right there. It is not good. Everything else that God created in the beginning was good, except for this part. It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him and help meet for him. I didn't write it. I didn't say it. It is not good that man should be alone. And what's the one in 1 Corinthians? for him. For him. What's the one in 1 Corinthians? Hold on, I don't find it. What is it? Oh, this is going to trigger you women. Don't be mad at me. I'm just warning y'all. Don't tell me. I didn't write it. I did not write this whatsoever. So go take it up with the person who wrote it. Mama Bear, Pinko, Laura. Who's the other ladies in here? I'm just warning y'all. I did not write it. Okay? I did not write it. Brace yourself. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was man created for the woman, but the woman for man. I did not say it. Shh. I'm just, hey, but the woman for the man. Julian says, That means preach. So go ahead, right corner. Go ahead, right corner. Keep rocking on. Keep rocking on.
Appreciate both of you guys answering that. Let's see what else we got here.
Oh, real quick, by the way, I found a stat about like men and the percentage of men that had no friends a couple decades ago was like at between 1% and 3%. Now that number is up to like 15%. I mean, this is a real issue. And again, to reinforce the fact that some people believe men and women cannot be friends contributes to that epidemic. So I reject that premise that RC put forth, that men and women can't be friends.
Hey man, they can be acquaintances. They can be acquaintances, but like a close friendship is here's the thing. Guys never have ugly female friends. Their female friends are always attractive. I've never seen a guy that has a fat and ugly female friend. She's always cute and she's always attractive and he's attracted to her. Guys never befriend an ugly woman.
Maybe
do you have fat, ugly female friends? Do you have fat and ugly female friends, or are they all
the
attractive?
The fact that you ask that, I mean, it's such an ignorant, dumbass question. Like, I have friends, I have human beings that come in all shapes and sizes. You'd label them as fat and ugly. I see them as human beings.
There's no such thing as fat. Yeah. I mean, like,
let's go to the next
I doubt you have any ugly female friends. I doubt it. I bet they're all attractive, at least conventionally attractive.
I think women are beautiful in all kinds of different ways. So
some aren't, though. Some are not physically attractive. That's just a fact. And a lot of guys are not physically attractive. I've been told that I'm ugly by literally millions of people online. Maybe I'm ugly. I don't really care because I'm a guy.
Why?
You care deeply how you look. I guarantee that.
This is related to what you guys are talking about. Justin O'Dizzle for $10. Thank you, Justin. You're holding the crown in the chat right now as far as the comments and XP goes. That's kind of a new thing.
Brian's line.
It says, Brian, in your friend group, what's the estimated ratio of male to female for you?
It's probably more men than women. I have a really close group of friends that I grew up with. That's a group of guys, but there's a couple women in the group. A lot of really close women friends here in Chicago. I don't know. I mean, probably broadly it's 50-50, I'd say. Depends on the friend group, I guess.
All right. And RC's already said he's not friends with women, so we don't need to make him rehash.
I've had
I'm just joking, bro.
That were women, but I'm just saying it always ends up something romantic happens. It always gets intimate.
You should take that off. You should take that off the table then. Be clear.
No, because I don't want to be friends with ugly women. I only want to be friends with attractive women. I don't want to, because the only way
friends with them. Then be friends with them.
I don't want to be friends with an ugly woman. because I
You
have to
don't be
deal with.
friends with women generally.
I don't want to
man.
be a girl's boyfriend placeholder. I don't want to listen to her drama and her BS and the guy she's. I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to pay for her dates. She's going to expect me to pay, or pay for our dinners and lunch. She's going to expect me to pay for it and listen to her TMZ bullshit. I don't want to listen to it.
TMZ.
I don't.
It sounds like you don't have a backbone and can't assert yourself and don't know who you are. That's why you can't be.
No, I want to deal with all of that with a woman that I'm married to, because I have to deal with all that shit anyway. But why am I going to do it with a girl that I get none of the benefits with being with? I got to listen to
view them as an object. That you just revealed yourself, man. Women are an object to fulfill your sexual satisfaction.
No, it's not just sexual. Cuddling and there's a
the
lot of stuff.
right
I like
women want to do that
cuddling. I
too,
like
so.
watching movies with them. I like to talk about my life and be vulnerable, but I'm not going to do that with just some woman that's not my girlfriend or my wife. It's not going to happen.
You won't do that with probably won't do that with anyone. Right.
Well, I definitely am not going to cuddle with my guy friends. That's not going to happen. I'm not.
Intimacy is something that it sounds like you're terrified of, unless it's in a very specific context, is what I'm picking up.
Physical, romantic intimacy has to be within.
Okay, romantic, physical intimacy is something different than just intimacy. You recognize that, right?
That's Why do you mean, like, when you're saying intimacy, I'm thinking like kissing and sex and stuff like that.
No, no, that's not just what intimacy is.
Okay,
intimacy is a closeness. It's a vulnerability. It's an openness to share who you are without being afraid of expressing that.
Right, I hear you. I guess
that can reciprocate.
Platonic intimacy. I have platonic intimacy with some of my guy friends, but I'm not going to be intimate with a woman that's not my girlfriend. I'm not.
You're missing out.
Because I'm not. Okay, cool. I'm missing out. That's fine.
You're missing out.
I mean,
you're contributing to the male loneliness epidemic. You're perpetuating the male loneliness.
I'm not lonely. I'm not lonely.
You're telling men, you're telling men they can't be friends with women, and that's perpetuating the male loneliness epidemic.
Because they can't. They're going to end up wanting to have sex with her.
That's a great question.
If men view women as objects, yeah, that's how they'll.
It doesn't mean someone views them as.
Do you have sex? Wait a second. Do you have sex with your female friends ever?
No.
Never. Your female friends, you've never had sex with one of them.
He just lied.
Yes, I have.
Exactly.
I'm married. I was married.
I've never had sex with my guy friends. I've never had sex with my guy friends. That's all I'm saying.
I know you want to, man. You should embrace it.
But that's what I'm saying. The dynamic is just different. It's not an insult toward you. I'm just saying the dynamic between men and women is just different. I'll leave it at that.
That's fine. And it doesn't mean anything.
We got a ton more questions to get to. They're coming in now. Appreciate you, chat. This
Brian
is from Justin OMG, different Justin.
What does Brian have?
Actually, it's not a question, but it is kind of a criticism. What is feminism? Explains. No, not like that. I guess he's trying to recap what he perceived there.
Oh, I think that's pretty accurate. Nah, I think it's a little accurate.
I mean, I'm not sure you can still define what feminism is other than like it's bad.
I said a little more than that.
All right, next question.
He is triggered.
Let's see. This is from Even Lord. Actually, this might have been a continuation to his other question about women not fulfilling their unique duty in society. He says, patriarchy in social sciences was disproved because the theory was built that matriarchy was the origin of society. Matriarchies have never existed. Thank you, Even Lord.
False. Patently false. And informed by ignorance and an incuriosity of the world. So keep on.
You don't have to insult the guy.
Is ignorance an insult, or is it the absence of knowledge? The absence of knowledge. Ignorance is the absence of knowledge.
You're more quick to insult a guy that might be historically uninformed about matriarchies, but a woman that says I hate all men, you're more willing to listen to and empathize with. Like, what is that?
Because it's rooted in historical context.
Okay,
man.
and that
That's
guy,
the whole point.
But the guy just didn't know about the matriarchy thing. So you're going to insult him?
You're right. He's reacting emotionally. I mean, that's what it is.
You don't even know that.
Ignorance.
He just might be a plea to ignorance. I mean, the guy might not.
That's what I said. It's ignorance.
But you said he's reacting emotionally.
Yes.
That's rude. That's rude, bro.
Aw, poor guy.
Someone snapped back. Someone snapped back kind of for him here. You ready for this? Rips MG225 for 10 says, incredulous, dismissive, bratty. I'm sure you fit right in with the femmes. Has your sneaky strategy been successful yet, bro?
Cool. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing great. I have a lot of love in my life. I have a lot of people that I care about and they care about me. So yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
RC, did you have something to say there? I didn't want to move on just yet. Sorry. You did.
I mean, I hope Brian has a great life. I mean, he seems like a likable enough guy. I mean,
Thank you.
he's not like the worst leftist liberal that I've encountered. He seems like, I can see why, you would have friends. I think if you're a likable person, irrespective of your political opinions. Now, listen, it's funny because I've had friends of mine whose feminist girlfriends say, you're just never going to get a girlfriend or have friends thinking the way you do. And it's like, well, that's not true because I do. My mom agrees with me. Other women in my life agree with me. They hate when I point out the fact that my mom agrees with me. They're like, "Oh my God, what does your mom think about what you talk about?" She's like, "Oh, that's kind of why I think the way I think." My mom agrees. Anyway, no, I think Brian's a likable guy, likable enough guy, at least for a liberal.
Well, we can
Leftist,
use
not liberal.
we can use this comment here to segue into maybe a little bit more spicy comment. So Swifty5 says, Brian, these people are too lost. You rock. F them.
F them.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
F them.
Hey, here's the thing. That F them thing. I think I appreciate the sentiment because it's hard to get. This is draining. It's draining to have conversations that that are not rooted in historical context and understanding of how different systems of power interplay with each other. So it's tempting to just say F them. I remember after the 2024 election, folks that voted for Trump, especially folks in like the Latin community that have folks that are in their families that are undocumented. There's a quick reaction to be like, you know what? You get what you get. You get what you voted for when your abuela is deported from this country for no reason other than just she's undocumented. She's undocumented. She's
illegal,
undocumented.
Actually,
no, it's a civil offense. Again, ignorance on full display.
Wait, a civil offense is breaking the law, so it's illegal.
Same as jaywalking. Yeah. It's like calling someone who it's like calling someone who jaywalks an illegal.
Actually, no, because it's a different kind of crime. Okay, sure, it's civil.
It's a civil,
but it's breaking the law.
Yeah,
it's breaking the law,
and it's rooted in ignorance and an otherization of people because undocumented immigrants commit crimes at significantly lower rates than natural.
Wait, they've all committed a crime by breaking the law of getting into this country illegally. So they've all committed a
crime today by crossing the street without crossing at a jaywalk. So.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, I embrace. I appreciate.
Jaywalking doesn't get you kicked out of the country.
I appreciate. Yeah, because we have dumb laws. We should have a path to citizenship that acknowledges the humanity and dignity of all human beings. But I appreciate that comment. But I guess I push back on the FM thing because we need to have these conversations. I hope there's folks in this audience who recognize that there's so much ignorance being spewed by emotional reactionaries that there's opportunity to get on the right side of things. So reject the FM part of it. As best you can.
I agree. All these conversations or people's ideology shouldn't exist in a vacuum is what I always say. You should be able to talk to them and hash it out. And yeah, these comments, sometimes you're going to get some positive, negative, somewhere in between, but we do have some real questions that are sprinkled throughout. And that's what makes it really valuable because these are real people sending in money to interact with you guys. Diley for $5 says, RC, can you honestly say your trauma with women doesn't affect your anti-feminist opinions?
I have trauma with men, not romantic trauma, but I have men that have caused me trauma, friends in my life that are no longer friends that were really nasty to me. I don't think that perverts my view of men. And I don't think that the women. Yeah, but what I'm pointing out the fact that both men and women have caused me trauma. Women have been the only ones to cause me romantic trauma, but I don't see how that skews my view of women.
Exactly.
And can you repeat the question one more time? I want to make sure I'm answering it succinctly.
Can you honestly say your trauma with women doesn't affect your anti-feminist opinions?
I can honestly say that my trauma with women does not affect my opinions of feminism and stuff like that. No, because if you listen to my you can call BS to it. If you listened to my opening statement, you go back, rewind, and listen to it, none of it has any bias. It's just viewing it like a scientist objectively and looking at pattern behaviors just like I would with any other species. I don't think that's brought on because ex-girlfriends of mine were disrespectful, abusive, coercive, and nasty, vindictive. Yeah, that stuff did happen. I've had the ex-girlfriends that I've dated both cheated on me. That has happened. They've lied to me. They've emasculated me. They've insulted, and they've had, there's a lot to it. That's happened. My view of feminism is distinct from it, especially with one of those exes that was a Christian and claimed to be opposed to feminism too. So
It's still
how could a
feminist?
Christian woman that opposes feminism cause me trauma to view feminism in a negative way? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So my point is that I can decompartmentalize the trauma, it's kind of a loaded term, that ex-girlfriends and women have caused me, and make a discernible difference between that and my objective view toward why feminism is harmful for society.
It's funny because a couple months ago when we talked, you admitted to me that your unhealed self led you to where you are and informed your opinion. And have you been healed? You're good? You've been going to therapy and working out, where this pain comes from, and addressing that pain?
Okay, so what I told you is that I don't think I'm healed enough insofar that I don't want to, enter into another relationship yet, because it was a long relationship. I would just leave it at that. I don't want to really give more details about it. And because of that, I don't want to just jump into another relationship until I feel that that wound has healed, where it doesn't hurt anymore. But no, sorry?
What are you doing to heal? Just out of curiosity.
A lot of prayer, and I'll keep the rest private. But
reflection on what you may have done.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, because I did things wrong as well. So of course we should reflect and learn the lessons that we failed to learn during the relationship, and assess it afterwards so that you don't repeat it.
Yeah,
and I would say the most important lesson that I would encourage everyone listening to display in any future relationships is respect. Never compromise on respect. Set your boundaries, set them early on. And if he or she breaks your boundaries, leave the relationship after the first infraction, after the first warning. If they don't want to respect you, leave. And that's what I should have done.
So, Amen.
Hey, that's a point of agreement, by the way.
Amen.
If you're in a relationship where you're not respected, you should not be in that relationship. I mean, I think that's the conversation, I think what it revolves around is finding people who are good fits for you in friendship, in partnership. I mean, that's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish here, right? Is finding partners and friends and connection in ways that are healthy, right?
Okay, so here's the only downfall I say with Right Corner, because he's saying that you can't be friends, which I get what he's saying, but in order to get what he is wanting or desiring, he has to have someone he becomes friends with. Because he's saying, I thought he was saying, he don't want women friends or can't have women friends because XYZ has the possibility of happening if he has women friends, which is true. But if he's going to have that right relationship, he's going to have to step out to have a relationship with a woman in order to have that good relationship, or he's going to end up with who knows what. Because you got to have that commonality, you got to have those interests, you got to have those hobbies, you got to have that like for each other, that respect for each other, that admiration for each other, all that type of jazz. You have to have that before the marriage, or you do. So in some sort of way, he has to, at some point, I think he's meaning once he's in a relationship. Okay, you think that's what he's meaning? Okay. But I'm saying, are you sure? Because he's saying that he don't have friends right now. I thought he's talking about like he don't want like friends or girlfriends, because if you have girlfriends, that XYZ could happen. But that's what I'm trying to say is like he at some point he has to have a girl that's a friend if he's going to end up getting married, or maybe they don't need to be friends and they get married anyway. I think he doesn't pursue just a friendship. He is open to getting to know someone. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. That brings more, yeah. Not just, yeah, okay. Because you gotta have it, you have to. By all means, you gotta be friends. By all means, you gotta be friends. Like, you guys better share some cool hobbies, interests, some commonality, things that make each other laugh, get along. It better be there. But attraction for each other, yeah.
One thing I mentioned last time we talked, RC, was that if you go and look for frustration and anger and hurt and pain, you're going to find it. But if you look for love, if you look for openness and connectivity, it's everywhere. But when you focus on the negative, you're going to find that. So it's my little contribution to that. So I agree. People should be looking for and connecting with people who are good fits for them. And if you're not respecting your relationship in either party, you should not be in that relationship.
All right. Sorry, I do have to move on. We have plenty of questions to get here, and I know
Mike just doesn't want us agreeing.
That's exactly it. We need the blood. Give me the blood. All right. No, so this is from Flavius. Thank you, Flavius, big supporter of the channel. $10. He says the NIH ran a. This is referring back to the I think the woman question. The NIH ran a survey in 2018 that states 96%, this is a quote, 96% of biologists affirm life begins at fertilization, conception. Are the 5337 biologists surveyed from over 1,000 academic institutions worldwide lying? Never mind, it was on, I guess, when life begins.
I think
What was Nope about? What was Nope about, Mama Bear? I missed it. Nope.
all of these conversations are between a woman, her doctor, and her partner.
I think that men are
Yeah.
allowed to have a say about abortion.
If
And
it's their partner.
it's half of
Wait,
our
what?
child.
You saying?
It took half of our DNA, and we have a right
Our
to say that
collectively.
our
What?
correct, because 50% of the DNA is the sperm, the other 50% of the DNA is the egg. So men do have a say. They actually have 50% of the say. And we should prevent people from murdering other innocent human beings. And those fetuses are innocent human beings that should be protected.
It's interesting. I'm going to throw out a concept here that I think a lot of men will reject, but this concept of womb envy, the fact that women can create life, is something that I think historically men have been very jealous of and have used that as a weapon against them.
They don't.
Women
control
can't
what women
create
can do.
life. No, women can't create life. Men can't
they
create
can.
life, but together we can create life.
Women literally grow human beings. Men
That's
cannot do that.
Because and they can't do it without
Without
the
the man.
sperm.
Yep.
So it takes the
true.
man. So we create. Actually, God created us,
crea-
but that's a theological discussion. But we both, the male and the female, together form a human being.
Yeah.
She
And then
can't.
women bring that life into the world.
Actually, it's just a biological
Well-
process. It's like saying that I create poop. It's just like I'm
Right.
pooping because it's a biological process. It just happens.
To bring it back to Flavius's questions, the
biological
50,
process.
yeah, the 5,300 scientists at the 1,000 academic institutions say life begins at fertilization. Would you agree
Watch
or
it.
disagree? I think it's more of what he wants to know.
I'm not really interested
Watch
in,
it.
honestly, that debate. It doesn't really matter to me.
It's not even a debate.
I
He's just
think,
asking,
again-
do you agree with the sentiment of all these biologists that are experts in the field?
I mean, I don't know. There's something to be said for consciousness being an indication of life. I mean, you could go to fertilization, you could go to a certain point where like a brain is developed and there's a level of consciousness or feelings of pain. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can determine when a life is truly a life. If those scientists think that, good for those scientists. I'm sure there are scientists that think otherwise.
You know, it's
so
like over
it don't matter.
96% of them had a unanimous consensus on it, though. Like over
That's fine.
close to 6,000 of them.
Cool.
Okay.
Does that mean we should force every woman who have had that life to give birth?
We should force every woman to give birth because we should not
Force
allow them
them.
to murder a human life. Correct.
force them.
All right.
Even if the life of the mother is threatened.
It's like 1%.
Next question
dude.
here. Sorry, guys.
We can have an abortion
Yeah, no,
debate.
that'd be a good one to set up as well. Cyber Bunny for $10. Thank you, Cyber Bunny. Feminism promised safety and happiness for women. Most reports women are not happy and don't feel safe. Why keep an ideology that has failed women?
Oh, that one's directed at me. I just kind of tuned out because I thought it was for Brian. Can you repeat it one more time?
I think it is for Brian, actually.
Is it for Brian?
Yeah, because it's saying that feminism promised safety and happiness. So then the reports of women not being happy and don't feel safe,
okay.
she's equating it to more feminism.
Oh, got it.
So why keep the ideology that has failed women is her question. Women.
And so the premise of this question is based on the fact that patriarchy and the status quo has protected women. When, again, I've pointed out all kinds of ways that women's agency around their bodies and their lives were denied in all kinds of ways. So if we think that marital rape is protecting women, if we think that not having age of consent laws is protecting women, then I guess I can concede the point, but that doesn't make any sense. So
wait, but hold on a second, Brian. If patriarchy is evil, then why did these male-dominated societies form in their governing body?
What's marital rape? I'm curious. What is it? I never heard of it. Honestly, what's marital rape? I'm being honest. Hey, Jason, I don't know if you're still in here, but thank you for the Cash App. Thank you for the $50 Cash App, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for your content you provide, brother. Thank you. What is marital rape? What is it? Does anybody know? Yep, I got it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Nobody's willing to answer. Okay, I got it. Cool. 6.8%, 1,000 women aged 15 and older are as what? 16.8 per 1,000 women aged 15 and older as, okay. When no means no, that's marital rape. Okay. But is there such a thing in marriage? That's the question. I know what you're meaning, but in Corinthians, it talks about not defrauding one another. Because that's actually what it says, not to defraud. Or else, doom. It leaves a foothold for the devil. So one of the two ways you're going to have a foothold for the devil, one of the two, isn't it just called grape? I don't know. But it is. It says in Corinthians not to defraud one another. And only if it's an agreement for a time period of fasting and praying and then come back together so that, what does it say? What does it say? Exactly. Stealing cookie out of the cookie jar. Mm-hmm. That's what it says. Mm-hmm. Wait, I think I misunderstood the question. I said, what is marital rape? He was talking about marital rape. And I said, what is it? I think he was talking about it. Or he said something like that. And I said, what is it? I said, is there such a thing? Is there such a thing? It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, so to avoid stuff, right, in marriage, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render. So, is there such a thing as marital rape? Or should a person say no? Let the husband render unto his wife due, belovedness, basically what is owed to her. And likewise, also the wife unto the husband. The woman hath no power, none whatsoever, of her own body, but the husband. Gosh, Jesus. And likewise, also the husband hath not power over his own body, but the wife does. Go ahead, baby. Defraud ye not one. Don't defraud not one the other, except, here's the only exception, it be for a consent of time, that ye may give yourself in fasting and prayer. And then it says, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your inconsistency? That's a pretty hefty passage that people don't realize, even before they get married. Most be when she has a headache. And it could. Q, have you seen the trend of men telling other men how to drug their wives so they can? No, that's silly. Women, my advice is to submit happily. I would agree. And vice versa. Because there's men who are like that too. There's men I've known, I've heard, my mouth drops. There's men that are like that too. That don't. What do you mean stop it? You and your stop. Who are you telling to stop? Yes, you must have been telling somebody else to stop it. I'm just saying. I'm just showing you what it says here. Render what's due benevolence, what's owed, what's due. Your body is not your body. Okay, men. Hey, men. Your body is not your body. It's your lady's body. For whenever she wants. Whenever. It's not your body, guys. The drugging thing is real. It's all over the media. Jesus didn't say that. Paul did, and he was dictating according to customs of the day. Context is important. Paul wrote it. You're saying that Jesus, you're saying that the whole word isn't inspired by God's word. Paul wrote it down. He had a revelation of Jesus Christ. Remember, Christ met him. So to avoid, here's what you do to avoid these things. Nevertheless, to avoid, let every man have his own wife. Right. So here's the context. Nevertheless, to avoid X, Y, Z, all these things, so that the enemy will not tempt you. There's the context. To avoid the fornication, right? Because you'll get tempted. Because what? The woman was made for man. Man needed a woman. God created the woman for the man. To avoid all that type of stuff, right? Context. Here's the submission part. All this. One to another, right? Benevolence means actually what's due, what's owed. Defraud means not to reject, turn away. Paul was human. And these books are guidelines. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Paul was human, and these books are guidelines on how to create proper church in their specific lands and cultures. But God's word does not change. It's the same yesterday and today and forever. So if you're dismissing it, you're saying that God changed, or that the scriptures are no longer valid. He didn't say it would change. He said it was the same yesterday and today and forever. Culture tries to change it. Society tries to change it. But his stuff didn't change, and Paul was human, but that doesn't matter. God used human to write. God spoke to human beings just like he still speaks to people today. That's why you have a conscience of what's right and wrong. Or you should. We should. So many letters. He wrote the are you saying the letters he wrote, the epistles that he wrote? They don't have to sacrifice an animal. Why was the animal sacrificed? There's a reason why the animal was sacrificed. Why was the animal sacrificed? God's word still didn't change. Even though there was an animal sacrifice, his word didn't change. It didn't change. We've tried to change it. No, they were two churches. The epistles were individual letters to individual churches. They were to the church. It wasn't individual churches. It was two churches in the cities. It was still the same word. It was correction to the church, because that's what Paul was doing. He was apostle, so he was correcting the church, which was only one church. It wasn't different churches. It was only one church, Jesus Christ, because that was the church, the body. And he was correcting things that were going on within the church, just bringing correction to it. And so those different churches had things in those churches that he was bringing correction to, trying to fix. Yes, the names of the epistles were churches. Ephesians, you have Romans, you have all that. Ephesus which would be Ephesians, right? The city of Ephesus, Corinth. But it still don't take away. No matter how you say it, it still don't take away what's written, like his word. So like to dismiss it, it's almost like saying that you don't believe it because Paul wrote it because he was man, or something that it changed. It didn't change. We change things. That's what's happened. That's why you have all the different denominations, because man has changed it. That doesn't make it right. So you have to go back to the basics of what it is.
To form laws to protect these women.
Why is feminism a thing? Is that what you're asking?
No, it's not feminism to create laws in a patriarchy to protect women from getting abused. It's
That's
not part
feminism.
of the patriarchy.
That's literally feminism.
It's not
That's
feminism.
the act of feminism.
I would say those are Christian moral
That's
ethics to protect women from getting abused. Actually, that's not feminism to protect women from getting raped.
That's literally feminism, because they were not. No, it's Christianity.
Oh, so it takes feminism. It takes okay, here's feminism. A male-dominated society forms laws, uses men to enforce those laws to protect women. That's feminism.
Baby brains.
Exactly.
Bro.
Exactly.
Baby brains.
Yeah, baby brain. No response, just baby brains.
Okay. Because what What's your point? What's your point?
My point is that we're patriarchal. So of course you're always going to need the strong arm of men. You're always going to be in a male-dominated society, and those men are going to legislate and enforce those laws. It's a patriarchy. We're always going to be a patriarchy because that's what we are by design.
We've been designed that way because fragile, insecure men have forced laws, norms, cultural institutions largely to oppress women. That's why we're a patriarchy. And over time, individuals have formed an intersectional coalition to push back against that power. And good men who recognize that women are not objects to be subjugated, but human beings, full human beings, they've white knighted their way into protecting women in ways that you deem unacceptable. So,
all right, so I'm gonna do a kind of a funny one real quick, and then we got a more juicy question that we're gonna get to. So Justin O'Dizzle for 10 says,
Okay, right. Hold on. Angry, yes. Context is very important when interpreting a 2,000-year-old text. But again, even though it's 2,000 years old, the same yesterday, today, and forever. So even though it was written 2,000 years ago, because it says that the end times will be like it was in the days of Noah, so are we in the end times or not? Don't know, could possibly be. So if the end times are as it was in the days of Noah, there's nothing new under the sun. What's the context? That they were still dealing with the same sort of problems back then as we have now, or something different? At the same time, the context within what I was showing is still the same. You're talking about temptation. You're talking about the devil. You're talking about the doors being open for the devil. You're talking about marriage stuff, all that type of stuff. So what's different? What's the context that's different from then to now? Here's principles. Here's guidelines. Here's how it should be. And human nature, again, not good for man to be alone. Create you a helpmate. All these type of things. What's in context? What's different? And then when it comes down to human nature, which God knows, right? And if you look at the Book of Solomon, which is hardly not ever discussed within churches or Christianity, whatever, because it's very X-rated. So obviously there's a side to human nature that God knows that there should be like pleasure. And if you don't have the pleasure, most people, if you don't have it within, like it's saying, within marriage context, you're going to leave room for the devil. Those doors are going to be open in context. In context. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. And then how do you get context also? How do you get context? Is it through going, I don't know, it's like, how do you get the context? It's like Bible school, scholars, or what? But our society doesn't shape. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what's been the problem. Society has tried to shape church. Society does not shape church. It doesn't shape God's word. It does not shape. That's the problem. The church has allowed society to shape it. So now that it's society then the church instead of the church above society. And that's the problem. Live social media, air flight, etc. I don't think it's that complicated. I think it's error in what man has done. It's not his word. It's easy to understand. It's not complex. It's not difficult. I don't think. We've allowed society and trends and culture and everything else to shape us, and then we put church and God below. It's like second. It's kind of like the whole thing with politics.
How much can each of you bench press?
Go for it, RC. What you got?
It's been a while. Not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie. It's been a little bit of a while since I tried to reach my PR. It wasn't that much. It was like my body weight at the time. So I think at the time it was like 175.
I wasn't far off. My best, I was 160. That was what I weighed.
All right, let me get to this next one, which is directed at RC. Rachel Wilson for 5. Thank you, Rachel. Says, how did RC, Andrew Wilson's #1 hater, really just sit here and steal Andrew's arguments verbatim after years of talking trash? Wow, the audacity. Laugh emoji.
That's hilarious. The Wilsons are that's hilarious. Go ahead, RC. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've never heard Andrew Wilson make the argument or the opening statement that I made referring to us as a patriarchal species and then kind of zoom in on it like as a scientist and view it objectively. But however, of course, there's going to be arguments that both of us have used. I mean, I could easily say that he's used arguments that I've used. For example, there was one I used often to people that support LGBT, and I've heard him use this, even though I used it first. And the argument is the following: that if love is love and consensual adults can marry whoever they want, then what about 2 adult male brothers? Or what about 2 adult male sisters? I'd never heard him use that argument before I made it, and then I made it, and then I heard him starting to use it after. But I'm not going to knock him for using it because it helps to illustrate the point that we're both, as I'm going to give him the credit and the benefit of the doubt as a Christian, and me as a Christian, to illustrate our worldview, to debunk people like you, to debunk people like Brian. But Rachel Wilson, I would have a question for you and your, 3 baby daddies? And you, by the way, when you're out debating as someone that's a steward of traditionality and a stay-at-home mother, who's taking care of your children when you and Andrew are both on the front lines of debates? When you're flying around the country being a combative woman and acting like the way feminists want you to act, which is debating and engaging in these public platforms, who's taking care of the children, Rachel? Who's at home taking care of the kids? Because you're supposed to be home making the sandwich, taking care of the kids, Rachel. But you're out debating men.
Rachel, do you see how men on your side hate you? Do you see how your husband probably hates you too? Like this disdain for you as a woman speaking her mind, even though I think all of what you say is so ignorant and dumb.
She says that women need to be stay-at-home mothers.
We do have to go to the next question. I'm sure they'll have something else to say maybe to your answers. But I don't want to skip Big League Drew here. I've been saving his. He's a big supporter of the channel as well. Then we'll move on. He says, what is the difference between egalitarianism and feminism? And then he also said for a separate 5, physiognomy check.
I would say it's kind of hard to make a discernible difference. The most discernible difference I could try to illustrate is that egalitarianism more so tries to make gender roles homogenous. And I would say feminism encourages women to adopt male gender roles. And for men, likewise, to adopt more feminine gender roles and like normalize that that's okay. But, they're really similar. If you kind of get down to it, it's hard to make a discernible definitional difference between egalitarianism and feminism.
Yeah, I'd say they're
Brian. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd say they're about the same. I mean, egalitarian being all people deserve equal rights, dignity, and opportunity. I mean, that's my view of what feminism is. Again, the reason it's called feminism is because when the term was coined, there was no real, it was the natural. It was, again, because we lived in a male default world, feminism being the other gender. When you look at historical, context, that was the pushback against a male dominant, male centric, male default world. So that's why it has the name feminism. It could as well have been egalitarianism because it's the advocacy for equality of all people.
All right. Yes, I did.
What was that last thing he said? What was that other $5 thing he said? What was that word he used?
Physiognomy or physiognomy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that G's silent there. I don't know if is that how? No, yeah, he missed an I. That's probably why I didn't catch it at first. Just read it straight how I saw it.
It's fine. We can
Yeah, that's
debate,
like how your body and your mind are kind of connected in the morphology.
we can debate, bro. Have no problem with it. But I'm just saying, if we're going to believe in the scripture, we got to believe in the scripture. You can't just we got to believe in the whole thing, right? And what it says. That's all I'm saying. So we can debate, but there's not much to debate. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's really much to debate unless you just don't believe in it. I guess you could debate why you don't. Love you too, though. That's not tonight's topic, though. Another time. Okay.
I guess something like that. Okay, Nicholas. I'm gonna read this one from Nicholas, and then Rachel just sent one more. Nicholas F4315 for 5 says Brian will point out the exception to every rule, refuting his own argument in the process. It's only the argument feminists have, or it's the only argument feminists have.
Now, it's funny. I grew up believing that everything was black or white. When I was a kid, I was like, there's right and there's wrong, and there's good and bad. And then as I grew up and learned about the world, I realized that the binary doesn't really exist in really any way, to be honest. Everything is on a spectrum or multiple spectrums, and there's gray everywhere. So you may find it contradictory if you view the world in a very simple black and white way, but it's not that way.
All righty. Thank you, Big League Drew, for the 5 gifted memberships. Sorry, I read it wrong, man. You did read it wrong, but we'll both take L's on that one. All right. So Rachel said for 5, my children are all grown up. I'm old, you goofball. My priest and husband direct everything I do. And then Andrew followed that up with $10. He said, oh, thanks, Andrew. I appreciate you, man. How's the book going, RC?
Look, I wish Andrew and his wife Rachel the best. I wish your family the best. I don't have any bad blood with you guys. It's more so one-sided. I wish God blesses you in all ways. I'm not going to continue some ridiculous juvenile beef. So we probably agree about 90% of issues. We may have some discernible different views, splitting hairs, but I really wish God blesses both of you. I wish you both good health and a long life together.
Erudite owned you, bro, by the way. Exposed you for the emotional little reactionary you are.
Okay, I did skip.
But yeah, I agree. Have a great life.
I skipped a comment here. That is my bad, Capital. There were 2 that I was going back for. I just wanted to make sure I was hitting the ones that were relevant to the topic and gonna create some good conversation. So Capital Science for $2 says, Brian, would you let everyone become a U.S. citizen?
I think we should have probably civics tests, requirements to become a citizen. Yeah, I don't think you just walk in and become a citizen. I think a lot of U.S. citizens would probably fail those civics.
You don't believe in open borders?
I guess conceptually, I think borders are very man-made and arbitrary, but I think practically they probably do make sense. So, I mean, I live in the real world. I would love to have a world where we view everyone as just humans, not have the preconceived notions. I believe, what I believe in is a Star Trek future where the Earth is a united front and we're sending folks out to space across all backgrounds.
That's why we need Elon Musk.
Ugh.
That's why we need Elon to make us a multi-planetary species, right?
All right.
That's why we need capitalism.
No. I gotta give a big shout out to Manny sending over 20 and said, this is a statement. Actual definition of feminism as described by feminist academics is female liberation. It's not about equality. They distinctly say they don't want the negatives that would come with being treated like men.
That is a specific view of feminism for some people, yes, agreed. But that's not generally what it is.
Even Lord, I did read your second super chat. Scroll back, brother. Or wait, no, this one. Yeah. Even Lord, that was the one about matriarchy. I did read that one, sir. Okay. Connor93 for 2 says, why do more women immigrate to feminist countries? Let's give some quick answers because got to get back to the
No, he's not.
back
No,
and
he's not a
forth
flat
real quick
earther.
with Andrew and Rachel.
There's more back and forth. Interesting.
There's at least one more.
Okay, fair enough. So the question was aimed at both of us, or was it more? Sorry for that. Was it more toward Brian?
I think that was probably more towards Brian. Why do women immigrate to feminist countries? More women immigrate to feminist countries. Or no, you RC, sorry.
Why do women immigrate to more feminist countries?
Why they come?
Yeah, like
why they come to
what's
America?
America.
So I'm
Told you.
what if I have a lot of questions to that. What country are they considering feminist? Maybe
America,
they're
you just
considering
said.
some of the Scandinavian countries feminist
No.
because they're more egalitarian
America.
in nature. And if
America's
that's the
feminist.
case, I'd need to see the statistics of how many women are migrating to these so-called feminist countries.
America.
I've never heard that before.
You just said it. You didn't hear him. He didn't hear him. He said America.
Yeah, it's a little tough to answer that question. I mean, I'm not.
It could have been
I'm
worded
not sure.
better, Chatter. Thank you.
Yeah, Chatter.
He said America.
We
So
forgive you, Chatter.
the question on everyone's mind here is Andrew.
I know why
saying,
they do.
Bro, do I need to read your DMs? And then Rachel following it up with 20. Thank you so much, Rachel. RC, you just insulted me, and now you wish me well. You talk trash about us nonstop, and we never talk about you. If you want to squash the beef, admit you were wrong and apologize.
We're 100%.
All will be forgiven.
We are 100%
Don't be
feminist
two-faced.
country.
Yeah, there were things that I was wrong about with my interactions with Andrew. You know, I'll tell you my if I'm allowed to just like 40 seconds here. I don't want to.
Yeah, we all know the earth is flat.
Andrew attacked Nala Ray's husband by attacking Nala, saying that he married like a prostitute or something.
We all know the earth is flat. Except for a few people. I'm not going to say names. A square. No, flat. We all you guys have inner drama too. Yeah, inner drama. We all know the earth is flat. Let's just leave it there.
And what I made my video about, and Andrew wasn't crazy about it, I said that we should give converts to Christianity the benefit of the doubt.
I know,
and I understand that Andrew had his reservations with Nala, as did I. We're not like indifferent on that. But what I said in my video is that we should also forgive his wife, Andrew Wilson's wife, for her past. We should forgive me for my past, Andrew for his past, that no one is beyond redemption, and that we should give, as I said, converts the benefit of the doubt. However, I will also say that I've stepped out of line. I've said things that were regrettable. Hopefully they could admit the same, mostly Andrew. But, you know, like I said, I don't have any ill will toward Andrew or his wife. It was just a snarky comment that I had made. But the thing is, I've never met Andrew. I've never met Rachel in person. I've never got a chance to actually meet them as individuals. So I don't know much, if any, about them. They may be fantastic people in person. I just don't know. But yeah, I will. I have no shame in apologizing for some of the things that I've said in the past, and for putting them down in times that I didn't have to put them down. So I wish them well. I genuinely do wish them well. I don't want them to be harmed in any way. I don't want them to be sick in any way. I wish that God blesses their relationship.
All right. Well, thanks for answering to that. Flavius sends $50. Thanks, man. You're a great supporter. He said, W to the Wilsons for their discernment. Take a lesson, plebes. This guy, goated.
I won't be learning much from the
chats.
Wilsons, to be honest with you.
You're not a fan?
Andrew said,
No.
then forgiven, RC.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Likewise.
Okay. How cute.
Yeah.
How nice.
Oh no,
That's men forgiving each other. You should be.
Yeah,
that's
is great
me
lesson.
expressing my emotions, him expressing his emotions.
I think
We're
it's healthy.
squashing things. Cool. See, that's another area we can agree on.
Yeah, humility is a good thing, as Reno Fine Brian of 9 said. I was thinking it and I read it right at the same time. Okay, this one here, we just have a couple more guys and we'll wrap it up. I appreciate y'all hanging in there. Right. So Orthodox Phronesis for 5 says, remember when Bush called it, quote, the Patriot Act, meaning supporting it, you're a patriot, according to Brian's logic. Well,
Is this the same chatter?
I'm trying to, no, this is Orthodox Phronesis. I'm trying to remember maybe when this came in to give you some context, but I am at a loss, sir.
Well, that's the thing. It's an interesting comment because I think, I mean, framing things as the Patriot Act. I mean, yeah, that's a demonstration of the control that an elite corporate billionaire class framed something to ultimately spy on U.S. citizens, right? I mean, that's what the Patriot Act ultimately accomplished, and they branded it, they termed it something to get people on board. I mean, that's how propaganda works. That's how manipulation works. So, I mean, it's a good example of that. I'm not sure what it has to do with what we're talking about, but
if Orthodox Phronesis wants to at me with a clarification on what that was referencing, I'll read it if we get some time. We'll move on here. The real Robert Flowers sends $5. He says, RC, you almost kept it together. Then your inner lib came out more than Brian after he grew that dumb mustache. Double L. Big Mike wins the debate. I appreciate that, sir. I said 100 words.
The jealousy of this mustache, it's the mustache envy is unbelievable among certain men. It's okay though. I forgive you. You should try it. Grow it out. See if you like it.
RC,
does the chat think that Brian looks like Aaron Rodgers? Just curious.
What?
They're making.
Well, and also I'm curious. What is he like? At what point did my inner liberal come out? I don't. What does that even mean? No context at all.
Yeah, if he's still tuned in, hopefully he can send me a
hopefully
direct at and clarification. So to give you some closure for tonight, RC, Rachel sent $2 and said, thank you, beef squashed.
Oh, thank you too, Rachel and Andrew. I appreciate it. God bless you.
All right. I think we are just about done here. There could be one more. Let me double check if he clarified his question or not. Maybe not. Oh yeah, bless my vibe code. Here we go. So bless my vibe code. They started it and maybe they'll end it. We'll see. For 10 says, in first world countries, men are becoming feminine and immature because previous generations already did the hard work. Brian is a perfect example of the decline of the Western man for that reason. Rebuttal.
I find that your unenlightenment is obnoxious. I mean, the fact that, yeah, I recognize the privilege of the world that we live in. The fact that we've had really great people accomplish incredible things before us. I also recognize the atrocities that were committed by people before us. And so I look at the world through a pretty clear lens from my perspective that feminizing, like, is thinking women deserve equal rights feminizing? I mean, it's just you reveal yourself, you reveal your hatred of women in these comments. So like, deal with that.
You keep going back to that. Like any criticism is always, you must hate women.
They just, when calling someone like a woman being an insult, yeah, that shows a disdain towards women.
Well, I would likewise say that a woman acting like a man's also like an insult, though. I think there's a way that women act generally. It's not that they have different personalities, of course. And then there's a way men act. And I don't think women should be trying to act like men and men trying to act like women, because we do have distinct biological roles.
There are tendencies, and then there are actual realities. So like acting like a man, like what does that mean in like societal context? To me, when I hear act like a man, that means don't show emotion, like push feelings deep down. I mean, it's negative things. When it's don't act like a girl, it's don't show your emotion. Like, do we not see how, again, we live in like a context of history and how the language we use is important? I mean, it's pretty obvious to me.
All right, we did get 2 clarifications here from the $2 immigration question to the orthophronesis question. He was clarifying that you talked about feminism as being
Pinko Pink Prick. Hey, Daddy Q. Do you believe the Earth is round? I do believe it's round. Like, well, what do you mean round? I believe it's a circle. It's round. I do believe it's round. Like a circle. Yep, I do. Do you? Do you believe it's a circle? Round? I believe the Earth is round. Hopefully that answered your question. Thank you for that.
Supportive of women, and it's right there in the name. And then so he said the Patriot Act thing.
Good.
You know, it's right there in the name. You're a patriot if you support this. So that was,
yeah. Again, I guess that's it's I don't know if that's misrepresenting like what it is. I don't know. Again, feminism was a result of, and coining that term was a result of pushing back against a male defaulted world. The Patriot Act was a cleverly named piece of legislation to, I don't know, yeah, bully people into supporting government surveillance. I mean, it's very different things.
So I found his original comment again, just to say one last time.
Yeah, hold on for a second. Kamala, is Trump your daddy? Oh, wait. Do, 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 do. It was just a question. I'm just saying, is Trump your daddy? I mean, he seems to be everybody's daddy. So is Trump your? So if Trump is people's daddy, I can be Daddy Q. Why can't I be a daddy? I want to be on equal play. We're talking about equality here in this show tonight. I want to be equal to Trump. I want to be daddy. Can I be daddy? So Pinko Pink Prick was very respectful and called me Daddy Q. Because, hey, Trump has the nickname of Daddy. Daddy's home, you know. Oh, I'm Daddy. Okay, Daddy Q. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thought we could got you on board.
This off my chest in case I feel like I'm misrepresented. He said, Brian was saying a feminist is one who
I've been told that.
females. It's even
narcissist, all that.
That was that.
Oh,
I think I almost reproduced it faithfully by memory, but it's hard to copy and paste all of them when the chat's
well, with
moving.
that context, makes more sense.
Yeah. So
feminism is a movement that advocates for the equality of all people.
Right. Feminism is. So then the second clarification was...
Wait, feminism was to...
Go ahead.
Fighting for the equality of Black people?
I mean, intersectionality exists. Intersectionality exists. I mean, there's Black people that are women, right?
I think it's fighting for the equality of women, irrespective of their religion or ethnicity or race. But
all people.
Anyway,
because men are victims under patriarchy. I mean, we are.
We're victims under the natural biological order that we are. I mean, it's just
the natural order.
Do you think? Wait. I'm curious. I'm curious. Do you think? I should have asked this earlier. Do you think that we're naturally egalitarian? Is that what you believe?
What's wrong, Jay?
I think human nature is interesting. I think there are folks who want to exploit and take power, and I think there are people who recognize that our power belongs in our being united.
What seems to be the problem?
So, I don't know. Are humans innately good or bad? I'm not sure.
Not good or bad. I'm just asking because if you're saying we're not innately patriarchal, then it's, stands to reason that you'd believe we're innately egalitarian. So what do you think we are?
I think we're humans.
Okay, we are kind of a kumbaya answer again. But what do you think?
I think there's gray. I think there's gray. I think that the natural fight towards equality is it's the path we're on. I mean, human beings were not all considered human beings 150 years ago, right?
Okay.
I mean, still we have humans that are locked up in jail, because we have a for-profit prison industry that's incentivizing lobbyists and people to lock people up. So like
the Marxism part of you, it's like
It's intertwined in all of this. It's intertwined. The socioeconomic system we have is part of this.
I'm just
man.
asking you, if you don't believe that we're patriarchal, do you believe we're egalitarian? Do you believe we're matriarchal? Because you can observe the virtually every species on the planet is either egalitarian, patriarchal, matriarchal. Orca whales are matriarchal. Beehives, they're matriarchal. Some of the primates are patriarchal. Some of the other primates are matriarchal. Some of the primates are egalitarian. Do you think that human beings fall somewhere on that spectrum?
Yeah. And I think it's up to us to drive towards equality.
Kumbaya.
I'm not denying the fact that historically a lot of societies have been patriarchal. I find flaw in that ideology. I think it's arbitrarily applied to the benefit of men who hold the monopoly on power.
Okay.
All right. So for the final question, unless someone surprises me here, it's the clarification for Miss. It was Kaner. I'm not sure. Forget. She says, if feminism makes women unhappy, why do women choose to immigrate to countries with feminist policies? Birth control, abortion, equal pay,
easy
etc.
answer.
If feminism makes women unhappy, why do they immigrate to places that have feminist policies? Is that the question?
Yeah, I guess
No.
it would be from the perspective of a foreigner, maybe. I don't know.
That question has to be aimed at me then.
Yeah.
Because, okay. Well, again, it's like every country virtually in the Western world has everything you said. So by that description, every country is feminist. I don't like, if that's the claim, then sure, you could make the argument based on that standard that the United States, which has the most immigrants trying to come here of any country in the world, many of those are also women with children trying to find better for her family, are trying to escape to a feminist country. Like, I don't really understand the argument.
It's an easy argument.
In the world that
he's already answered
things
it.
like forced marriages.
Not,
honestly, I mean, it's a
so you go back
an
and listen to
example
him.
of when Doge went in and wiped out funding to
birth control, abortion, equal pay, etc.
If feminism makes women unhappy, why do they?
Surprises me here. It's the clarification for Miss. It was Connor.
It's easy. He's already talked about it. She
says, if feminism makes women unhappy, why do women choose to immigrate to countries with feminist policies? Birth control, abortion, equal pay, etc.
If feminism makes women unhappy.
So, because he's arguing that feminism makes women unhappy. So the question is, well, since you're saying that feminism makes women unhappy, why are these women moving to a feminist country? So the reason why they move to a feminist country is for the freedoms that what's his face over here is talking about, Mr. Brian. And that's how America is versus the countries that he was referring to, Asia, China, where the women are more feminine than America is. So, and that's what you have going on with the whole Iran thing, where the people and the women are wanting to be liberated and they love America, same way with Israel. They're loving the freedoms of America, which is why Israel's having the big LGBTQ event coming up, right? Because they want what America has, because America is more of a feminist ran nation than some of these other countries are, especially like Iran. Iran is not a feminist ran country. Either is Asia, either is really Russia either. So those women are like, oh, I want the freedom. I want to be able to do this. I want to be equal. Where's Jesse at? What a mess. And that's why. Because they haven't forgiven their mamas.
Why do they immigrate to places that have feminist policies? Is that the question?
So you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I guess it would be from the perspective of a foreigner, maybe.
That question has to be aimed at me then.
Yeah.
Because, okay. Well, again, it's like every country virtually in the Western world has everything you said. So by that description, every country is feminist. I don't like, if that's the claim, then sure, you could make the argument based on that standard that the United States, which has the most immigrants trying to come here of any country in the world, many of those are also women with children trying to find better for her family, are trying to escape to a feminist country. Like, I don't really understand the argument.
There are a lot of countries in the world that have things like forced marriages. Honestly, I mean, it's an example of when Doge went in and wiped out funding to like USAID. There was a specific program that was targeted towards, I'm blanking on the country that it was, but it was a country that child brides were a common practice, and so that money was sent to that country to fund education for young girls, to keep them from being sold into slavery, essentially, servitude to a man who had power. So yeah, I could see why women would want to leave those types of countries to go towards ones where we've evolved past.
But right. But I don't think that's what the commenter is asking. I think the commenter is more so saying that the United States and many countries in the West don't fit her, I'm assuming it's a girl, it could be a guy, don't fit that person's description of a feminist country. Therefore, they're immigrating away to other feminist countries. But they're not. Yeah, but I would agree with what you're saying. Of course, women don't want to be forced and stoned and beheaded and not allowed to wear anything.
But isn't that natural, man? Isn't that natural?
No,
I mean, men are just doing their thing, man. They're just doing their thing. We're just being men, right?
No, I think that's
Big
Islamification.
Big Hellenius says he thinks you were talking about Myanmar.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Orthodox Fernisa sent one last chat here for 5. Thank you, sir, for your support. He said, Brian, what makes you think equality is loving? What even is love? Saint Maximo says it's when we care for others' salvation. Why should we listen to you?
It's funny. Salvation is it indicates to me that it's not about what is happening in this world. It's what happens after we die. And I think that's a kind of perverted way of looking at it. It's I live in this world, and I think that we should strive towards creating equality for people right now, as opposed to convincing people that
he's not my guest.
Suffering now means salvation later. I think that's a really toxic mindset.
All right. I think that's it, guys. We appreciate you. This has been very fun. I got through all of these. It
was very fun.
If I missed one, and
best one yet.
Will have to be it.
More questions than I was expecting.
Yeah, you guys gave me more time than I was expecting, and I'm very grateful for that. I always tend to just kind of play it by ear, see how everyone's doing. If they're like, I'm getting up, sorry, then I'll cut it out. But if they're chilling, I'll chill. So real quick, guys, we'll go ahead and have you shout out your channels. Brian, why don't you go first and tell us where you can find, tell the chat where you can find you.
Yeah, I'm Brian Wendell on TikTok and Instagram. That's really all. No, it's just me.
Hey, Jeff.
All right, RC, go ahead and shout out your channel, please.
Yeah, I mostly post on Instagram, a little bit on TikTok. The Instagram is TheRightCorner. And on TikTok, it's TheRightCorner. Tongue-in-cheek comment, not actually alt-right. It's funny. He's shaking his head. It's funny. It just fits the name, TheRightCorner. So yeah, you can find me on there. I think I have like 60,000 on TikTok. That one's been kind of growing, but Instagram is my main one. So if you want to reach out to me, message me, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'll probably see a message.
I have way fewer, by the way. So follow me if you'd like, if you hated me this whole time, and then maybe you can learn something.
Hey, so I'm telling you, the hate followers are much more loyal than some of your loving followers.
Facts.
Unfortunately.
Facts.
Amen to that.
Hate followers are more loyal.
So this has been another MDD debate here, and we will be hitting it in person. All sorts of debates like this and more at DebateCon 8. Our premier flagship debate conference going to be in Dallas, Texas.
That boy is not no dummy. Hate followers are more loyal.
Brought to you by Yonaguni International Cuisine, Asian, Latin fusion, sushi, all that you want in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. Got to say that because Bob's involved with us. He lives in Puerto Rico full time, but he helps out very intimately with the
I'm a loyal hater. See?
So, hate followers. Kind of crazy, like Puerto Rican sponsor. Well, that's why.
There's actually truth to that, though.
Yeah, he's in the debate.
Bad publicity is still good publicity.
Thank you, chatters. Big W's in the chat for yourselves, and appreciate everybody interacting.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you guys a
I got
secret.
thrown on there as a joke, so you guys who voted for me for no reason, you're funny.
You go tell the truth, you'll get a bunch of hate followers. Go speak the truth. Go speak something that's not the popular trend. You'll get a bunch of hate followers. Promise you. If you have the guts to do it. Speak out against the trend and what's popular, you'll get a bunch of hate followers, and they'll keep tabs on you all the time. Mark my words, I promise you. Britt is going to sleep, but Mr. Bill sent us. All right, good night, Britt. I don't follow you closely enough to be a hater. Best chat on the internet. Appreciate that, Jeff Gates. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, bud, if you don't mind. Britt's going to bed. Yep, hit the like. I'm starting to get trolls in my chat. I'm just now joining. Feminism is anti. You're too late. What do you mean you're just now? This dude does not sleep. It's like 1:45 and he's talking about I'm just joining. I'm just joining now. Pastor Russell. I'm just joining now. I had to school somebody, Pastor Russell. I had to school somebody on 1 Corinthians 7 about defrauding. Somebody here in the chat, I had to take them to school because the scripture is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Anyway, you're like way behind anyway, so I'm just playing, Jay. Kind of. Not sorry, but sorry. No panel. I could talk about annoying women. Just listen to Jesse Peterson in the morning, Mr. Bill. If you got mama wounds, you need to forgive mama. Being feminine is a trait critical to motherhood. Amen. Come on, now it's time to preach. However, the feminine movement is anti-motherhood because it devalues womanhood. It does. I said that the other day. I said that's the problem with feminists, because the fact that they haven't been taught the beauty of being a woman or motherhood. So I got to compete. I got to do this. No, if they're not going to do it, nobody's going to do it. Society hasn't done a good job letting women know who they are, like the beauty of a woman. They tell them that you got to do this, you got to do that. You got to step your game up, girl. Mr. Bill definitely needs to forgive his mama. Preach, Pastor Russell. Well, yeah, since you just started, I mean, you got like till 3:00 in the morning. You got a couple hours to catch up. You got a few hours to catch up. Weak men love feminist movement because they get a mama that can be their lover. Actually, they don't. I don't know. No, they don't. They don't. No, they don't get. No, they don't. No. They don't. Weak men love their feminist movement because they get a mama. No. A feminist is not going to be no mama or no lover. You got that all wrong, Pastor Russell. You got that all wrong. The feminist is not going to be no mama or a lover. No, here he goes. Look. Bill This boy needs a life. Just all over the place. Nobody remembers any such fake news. You said it was at that one place that you're asking Pastor Russell about something that he would never go to. So how are you going to ask him? He never went there. He never went there. Goodness gracious. Oh, both. No, that did not happen, sir. Lying. That's funny. You wouldn't know what would Mr. Bill. Let's have a talk. Let's have a talk here. What would you know what to do with like 7 black children? Like for reals. What would you know what to do? I'm absolutely right, because they get to tell the weak men what to do and get his affection when she wants it, and he doesn't have to be the leader. Hold on. Hold on. I'm reading other comments. Hold on. So I'm trying to see what he's saying. I'm absolutely right, because they get to tell weak men what to do and get his affection when she wants it, and he doesn't have to be the leader. Okay, yes, in that way. Yes. But not how you originally said it. You originally said it different. Oh, okay. I see kind of how you're saying it. I thought you were saying it differently. But yes, in that way, yeah. Yeah. Pastor Russell, quick. Okay. Do I need to get you on the phone? Do I do I need to get you up? Do I need to get you up on here? Look, you know your wifey poopy taking care of you. So what you talking about, mama take care of me? Wifey poopy taking care of you? And if she's listening right now, you know she's going to say amen. Wifey poo be taking care of you. Mama, I will be a good boy. I'll be a good boy. And in return, you will be affectionate to me. Yeah. No. Nope. But what you're explaining is correct, right? What you're explaining is correct. What you're explaining is correct. Oh man. Mr. Bill can't even keep his live streams in line. How is he going to keep Daddy Cube's basketball team? He can't keep my kid. My kids run circles around Bill. I had to watch only Mr. Bill. You got Pinko Pink over here cracking up. Did you bring the puppet? It would have scared them. He didn't bring no puppets. That is why a weak man was a feminist movement. They do like weak. The dude talking tonight was very weak. The dude talking was very weak. No, we go do we do the urban things. We like wrestle on the concrete, play football, all that type of stuff. We do the urban concrete jungle stuff. That's what we do. I haven't done. I don't. Pastor Russell's took them fishing and shooting. We've gone shooting. Trying to teach them how to hold the guns. They got knives and stuff. Not even sure he was a dude. Well, hey, Roussel, is Brian, since you're watching it kind of like now, is Brian a dude? Do you think he's a dude or a beta? Do you think he's a dude or a beta, Pastor Russell? The Brian guy. He has a pretty cool mustache. Oh, man. He has a pretty, it's not a cool mustache. No, it's not. He has facial hair. Wrestling on the concrete? Yeah, that's what we do. I don't do the wood stuff. He black. I went one time with the white guy out into the woods. I'll never go again. I haven't been back since. I ain't gonna tell the story. He said he didn't watch enough to know, you guys. He didn't watch enough to know yet if Brian's a beta. That 70s mustache though. Chicken about what? Me camping? He black. He black. He black. I don't know what you talking about camping. Oh, about going to the woods? Yeah, I'm scared now. There was a guy there was a white guy that took me to the woods once upon a time, and it traumatized me for like life, forever, ever. So I'll never go back. I'll never trust another white guy in my life. Oh man, get in touch with your roots, huh? Camping is not fun. Camping is not fun. No. I've enjoyed it a little bit, but it's not my thing. Why did they take you to BWCA and leave you there? BWCA, why does that sound familiar? BWCA, where's BWCA? No, it's not. Boundary Water Canoe Area. I'm all right with water. I can swim. I can swim good. I was on a swimming team when I was younger. I was on a swimming team. I love swimming. I can swim. Freestyle swim. I can't do backstroke like I used to. But I can swim freestyle. I'm from Minnesota. It's all lakes and rivers here. Yep. I know other people who are from Minnesota. I don't know if they're still in here. They don't look like they're still in here. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just kind of watching from a distance. Get in touch with your roots. That's because you went to a primarily white school. Oh, man. And because you want to run around in your underwear like a bunch. Oh my goodness. I wonder if Antifa's watching this one tonight. Oh man. Okay, so listen, Pastor Russo, it wasn't underwear, it was fig leaves. It was fig leaves that they sewed together. That's what it was. Read your favorite verses of the NIV, please. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Pastor Russell, can you please help only Mr. Bill out with what he said here? Can you let him know something, please, kindly, with love about that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th word? Oh, help him out. If you want. Insulting, not a very good translation in comparison to the KJV. Yeah. That's good help. That's good advice. That's very good advice. That's sound wisdom. Sound wisdom. No, nobody was insulting the Bible. Nobody's insulting the Bible. Nobody is insulting. Look, Kamala's KJV. Oh, look, I am a KJV onlyist. I want my $2 back. It's already in the bank. Sorry, bud. It's already in the bank. I think Pastor Russell's read a couple times out ESV. I think so. Maybe. Or NASB. A few times here and there. He's never told me. He's never told me I was wrong. He's never told me I was wrong. Never. You read ESV. Here. I will read other versions. Sometimes I will reference them in messages, but I am primarily preaching and teaching out of the KJV. It is a very tried and true translation, which has undergone tremendous scrutiny and is a very accurate representation of the original languages. I mean, he just says it better and more finesse than I do. I'm sorry, guys. He's white, I'm black, so I kind of say it like in a different way. He finesses it. I mean, but when he's raw, he just it's a whole different story. Then he get black. When he start to yell, he get black. Authorized red letter. Authorized red letter. It's not for everyone. My preference. Yes, he did. He told Jesse Lee he was wrong, and he thought he was right. No, that's not what happened. He did say I was right. He just said, but Can you let people know that but is kind of like the word and, right? And the name of and but it's kind of like the same way. You didn't dismiss nothing. You just added to. Can you think running around in your underwear jumping in a pond, the water in front of a bunch of other people? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta show you. Now I gotta find it. Why'd you Oh no. Oh goodness. Okay, hold uh, um oh man, swimming suit is nothing but a string. Oh my goodness. Where's it at? Oh goodness gracious. Where is it at? That's not it. Mm-mm-mm. Um, Quincy's outdoors. What in the you'll see in just a second. Hold on. Um, what was that? River Wedge. We're going to start referring to you as a fig leaf. No, we're not. No, we are not. Okay, hold on. I gotta find this video. I had to find this video. Where is it at? Oh, why am I not finding it? Is this it? Yeah. It has to be on YouTube. It has to be on YouTube. Is it? No. Oh, man. Oh goodness, where is it at? Wait, is this it? Is this it? Okay, hold on. Where is it? Okay. Oh, get rid of the stuff. That's not it. Hold on, I'm trying to find something. You guys just give me a second, please. Just bear with me. Because he's talking about people running around, swimming in front of you. Men do. Why can't I see it? Where's it at? Will you just send me the video already? Send me the video. Send me the video. The one that you showed me. This one isn't that good. 3 hours later, yeah, I know. I just go to YouTube here. Let me try it like this. Oh, so good. So good. Mm. Oh my. Is this it? Okay? Hold on. What the what? Come on. Okay, this might be it. Hold on, here it is. I got okay, all right. This is what he was trying to refer to, you guys. This is the jokes he was trying to say. He's probably gone now. He probably did all this and then ran. Oh goodness. Okay. He took off. Talking about men in underwear and stuff.
Where I share culturally relevant topics, mostly pertaining to sexuality from a Christian perspective. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you will hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for all notifications so that you will not miss anything that I have coming for you. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate you. Now let's get right into it.
Let's get right into
I
it.
saw a few days ago an image of Russell Brand baptizing a man.
Can y'all see this? Oh man. There you go, Russell Brand. You guys. Russell Brand. Oh, he's baptizing someone, you guys. Russell Brand is baptizing. Ooh-wee. Thank you. Good night. Really, this time, Laura, I text you back. Talk to you soon. Okay. Good night. Good night, Kamala.
Man in his underwear. I paused, I celebrated, and I said, praise God.
Oh my gosh. Oh. No, you didn't text me. That's all right. I just showed it. But that's the you guys, what's it like for men to run around in their underwear at the Oh man. You came in too late, Pastor Russell. Everybody's checking out. People are like 3 hours ahead. You came in here too late. Oh goodness. It's like 1 o'clock. It's dement. It is demented. You can- oh, sweet Jesus. Yes, it's demented. We got it. It's white privilege. Oh man. There's nothing white privilege about that. Oh man. Okay. Mm-mm. You got Jeff laughing. It's 3:12 in Minneapolis. 3:12 in the morning in Minneapolis. The black Dr. Dan got more clothes. Oh my gosh. That is a true statement, though. That is true. Oh man. Okay. Correction, the black brother got more clothes on than the white. Yes. Yep. All right. I am going to get off here. And that's a lot of white crackers. I'm going to get off here. I might get suspended on YouTube for all the racial slang. So, yeah, check this little tune out here that my mods did for me. You might need one of these yourself, Pastor Roussel. Appreciate it, unapologetic America. I'm going to have a great night, get some rest. I'll be on tomorrow. Summit, God bless you. Check this little video out, Pastor Roussel. Ritz forever. Good night, you guys. Love y'all.
Yeah. On American streets. Yeah.
On American streets.
Yeah. Yeah. On American streets. On American streets.
Truth in the light, yeah, the whole world see. Faith front deep, where brave stand free. From quiet prayer to the place we meet. Quincy Franklin, bring truth on American streets. BCP preachers still spinning the beats. From DJ days now preaching in the streets. Fight for God and the freedom we keep. Still stand strong on American streets. Truth, truth, let the truth ring out. Faith, faith, that's what we about. See both sides, but we stand on truth. Call this nation back to its roots.
At his father's knee, where the roots run deep.
Freedom riders stood tall in the heat.
Now the same fire in his heartbeat.
Carry that truth on American streets. From DC down to the Texas heat. Minnesota cold, the Oregon trees. Live in the streets where the people meet. Roll nationwide on American streets. Truth, truth, let the truth ring out. Faith, faith, that's what we about. See both sides, but we stand on truth. Call this nation back to its roots. On American streets. On American streets. Thankful for family standing beside. Mods and supporters along for the ride. Sponsors and friends who keep it alive. Truth in the word is how we survive. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. On American streets. On American streets. On American streets. On American streets. On American streets.